Chastity, the social media influencer and rockstar killer. Maria, from Miami. And Lucy, aspiring actress. Sydney, hip-hop lover and writer, so I'm told. And my quiet one, Mackenzie. Well, hello, ladies. I'm Bella. I have a question for everyone. Why do you think rich men cheat? Control.
I'm going home.
Don't go.
Attention.
You bring the total package to the table. You just need the right friends.
Are you my friend?
No, but you can be mine.
And power.
I stuck my neck out for you.
Thank you!
And I pulled the strings to get you onto this show.
Take all three away, and he becomes desperate.
So, what's with the apples?
Well, it represents knowledge, wisdom, beauty, and power. Here, you will learn how to gain ownership of all.
I'm gonna send you the money for the ticket, and I already have your room set up at the Palms.
You do that, babe.
Because once you have possession of the apple, no man alive will have power over you.
You make it sound so easy.
Oh, it's not easy.
Brett, look, I'm sorry.
Save it! Save it!
I get no auditions.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
I get no callbacks.
I really need to get upstairs. They stole all my money.
I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but you're no better than the rest of us.
Right now they have a do not disturb until this afternoon. If they call you, great.
How is he gonna call me if he doesn't?
If not, charge it to the game.
Make no mistake, ladies. In order to succeed in this game, you must be willing to play it out till the very end.
This business is all types of savage.
What are you doing?
But if you follow my blueprints, I guarantee you will become a millionaire within the next 3 years. Possibly way earlier. So, are you ready to take that step?
Another day, another dollar. Ain't about money, don't you holler. 100 miles and racing, and that money conversation be my only motivation, yeah.
Up, y'all, this is Rayon Lawrence, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Catherine Nunez, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director and the Council on the IE Network.
Real Talk.
Hey, I'm Gina Lou, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hey, what's up? It's Logan Browning, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real Talk.
Hi, this is Alana De La Garza, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, I'm Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, this is Monique Capri, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, I'm Stormy Maya, and you are listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
It's Vicky Judy, Orange is the New Black, and I'm here with Real Talk.
Yo, what up? This is Jay Ellis, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio. Keep it locked.
Hi, I'm Trina Parks, and you're listening to Real Talk Radio with the Director. Hey, I'm Issa Rae, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Nothing more, nothing less. What's up? Welcome back to another Real Talk, another edition of Real Talk with the Director of the Jedi Council. I'm the Director. I'm a little under the weather today. I don't have COVID again, thank God. But when you got a little kid, and they go out and they mingle with other little germ-infected kids, they bring home those germs and give them to you and give you a nice little kiss on the cheek. And there goes all the germs all up in here. And then, I'm a sucker for my little girl anyway. So I'm getting all the hugs, I'm getting all the kisses, and I'm getting all the germs. So anyhow, we go thug it out though. Hell, remember, this is your boy, the director. I was broadcasting when I had COVID, so I ain't about this little cold ain't nothing. But this is what it is. So if you hear me do a little, I'm gonna try not to do that on camera or on microphone. I'll mute my mics over here like a sudden mute. That's probably me coughing up a lung or sneezing or something. So anyway, welcome to another edition of Real Talk, the Director and Jedi Council. I'm the director. Be with you for the next 120 minutes or so. Real Talk's brought to you each and every Monday by B2S Media. Here it is. That's it right there. Broadcast live via the World Wide Web on youtube.com/IE Network TV. And, of course, the social network itself, Facebook, a.k.a. Meta, and Twitter. Another day today, and now last time we spoke to you, good people, we were right on the midst of a writer's strike. Well, people, we said, actually, right after we went off the air, because we was on the air extra long that night. I don't even know why. We got off to a terrible start. Started bickering and arguing about stupid things, and then we ended up with nothing. But we will not do that again this week. But yeah, it was the writer's strike is here, people. And some people may think, yeah, well, what is that? What do we care? Just the writers. Well, this is the union for the Writers Guild of America. And one thing I'm going to cover today is who is affected by the writer's strike. Now, if you remember back in 2007, for you cats that ain't young bucks, back in 2007, there was a writer's strike, and it actually affected it pretty bad. It was billions of dollars was, lost, or, in production and stuff like that, because they had to shut down productions and things, things pushed back, stuff like that. You don't feel it right away. I want to go down it's a wave. It's like a wave. It's almost like a tidal wave, right? And I'm going to try to break down each wave, because it starts with a particular group of shows, and then it, kind of climaxes to the shows that next thing you know, all the shows are affected and everyone's in reruns, if there is reruns. Now, this was before streaming in 2007. So now we talk about reruns. There are no reruns in streaming. You just watch it as much or as little as you want. So I believe you got some shows, some networks tried to not backlog, but tried to kind of, get a few joints already in the can, try to hurry up and finish up a season of something. Some got shows banked already, like they've already paid for, the writer to write the show, and it's been written. So they can, they might have been filming it, but not too many productions are filming, especially productions that pretty much require, all productions require at least a script supervisor on set, and that's part of, they're part of the writing crew, even though they're not the writers, but writers are on set, depending on the type of show. If it's a film, writers aren't usually walking around on set on a film, but script supervisors are. So it all depends. But we'll break that down. Also, even in wake of the writer's strike, to kind of avoid being caught in the middle of a picket line, MTV Awards did a pre-taped show. It was really almost like, it felt like a COVID show. Like they were, everyone that was accepting their awards weren't there. They didn't have it, there like that. Like people weren't there. A lot, not everyone, but a lot of people. I think maybe almost everyone accepted awards because a lot of the actors are trying to show some sort of alliance, a respect for the writers. You don't want the actors and things like that. A lot of the people, they don't want to step on the toes of the writers because and we'll talk about that too. One actor already is being heckled by the writers, which I don't think it was right for them to do that, but there it was a little shots fired by some of the writers that's on strike now at one particular pretty big actor at this moment. And so we have that. Also, we will go over once again our all-time TV theme songs. We have quite a few that we need to kind of replace. We got some open spots, and we may open up some more spots tonight. That might be at least the goal. Open up a few more spots so we can, some of these honorable mentions probably need to be on this list. So we need to settle that. And and we'll get to that. But yeah, this writer's strike is really one thing. The writer's strike is really affected, and they didn't even really need the writer's strike to affect this because it's been doomed from the beginning, and that's the Blade movie. The Blade movie. This is ridiculous. What's going on over there? Why is this so hard to write a Blade film? I don't understand it. Like, I'm not trying to, toot my own horn here. We're all producers. We're all filmmakers here. I'm not trying to toot my own horn because I'm a writer and all that, but it really shouldn't be that hard to write a Blade movie. It really shouldn't. The problem is they're trying to make it PG-13, and that is the issue. They're not, it's going to be, now that's hard. It's hard to write a good PG-13 Blade film. It's a vampire film, people. It's a film about vampires and a vampire hunter. Disney, Marvel, y'all need to bite the bullet and be like, listen, let's just make this thing let's just do it. You don't need to market Blade to the children. You don't need to do that. You don't need to market Blade to kids. There's plenty of adults that will go and watch Blade, and it will make the same amount of money. It really cracks me up how I'm not saying, not trying to, of course we love the kids like Wu-Tang for the children. Well, Real Talk's for the children. But everyone goes ape shit out of their way to make these movies for kids. And how does the movie really make the money? The adults that go see it, they're the ones paying for it. Yeah, they're paying for kids to go to. You bring your kids and you're paying a crap load of money. But how many times is a kid gonna go see a movie? Especially the kids of today. They can't even sit still for more than an hour. The youngins and the youth of today, they're not seeing a movie more than once. Us, adults, we're going to see the movie more than once. I saw movies more than once as a child because I was into movies so much. Kids of today ain't got time for that. They like this. They're on their phone. They ain't got time to be sitting in a movie for 2 hours. Twice, no less. Nuh-uh. In 1 week. It's not happening. Not the youth of today. So where are you really making your money from, Marvel and Disney? You making it from the cats that was children when this stuff first came out. And now we're adults and we want to witness it on the big screen. That is your real, true Marvel market. The people who the non-comic book fans that just loved seeing maybe the cartoons and stuff like that, and they want to experience it on the screen. And of course, the comic book fans that read these things growing up, and now they get to see it properly on a screen. That's your audience. No more, no less. Don't tell me, you can't tell me otherwise. That's your main spending audience. So, yes, kids watch this because the kids in us watch these movies. That's why they were so successful. That's why they remain successful. And people go with the whole superhero, what are they calling it? Superhero fatigue, whatever that means, or comic book movie fatigue. I don't know what they're calling it. It's BS. I mean, some of the movies, if the movie isn't, some of the movies just doesn't matter. What they did was they set such a high bar that it's kind of hard now that they're starting over. So it's like you got to the top of the mountain with Endgame. Now, Endgame represents you going over the mountain. Now you're going back down. It's peaks and valleys, right? So now you got to start over. It's just like 2008 or whatever, 2007. When Iron Man came, like starting over. I can't even tell you how many people had something slick to say about Iron Man when it first came out. Before they even watched it, they just was like, Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, trust me. They're like, why they pick Iron Man of all people? Now those are the same people that was in the theaters boo-hooing because Iron Man was dead. Spoiler, if you haven't seen Endgame, that's just too bad for you. But yeah, so it ain't no superhero fatigue. It's no one wants to get to know this new band of heroes that they're forced to introduce to you, because you can't have the same people forever. These actors don't want to be in these roles forever, people. It's not like a cartoon where you can just keep redrawing them. You can't do that. The people want to move on with their lives. So they want to do other stuff. So anyway, neither here nor there. Weekend recap for this weekend at box office mojo.com. Weekend of May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th through the 7th. Yeah. Okay. And of course, happy belated May the 4th be with you. Did anyone watch any Star Wars flicks on May the 4th? I did. I watched some Star Wars stuff. Actually, there's a new show that I watched with my little 3-year-old. It's the Young Jedi Academy or something like that. It's a cartoon series. It's actually pretty cute, and she loves it. Oh my God. She stands in front of the screen like this with a hand out, trying to use the Force. It's just hilarious. But so number 5, Love Again. That is rated PG-13. Right? Screen Gems was the distributor on that. That made $2.4 million. Number 4 is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. $3.2 million. Brings that to a worldwide total of $12 million. Now, this is obviously an independent film. Well, Lionsgate distributed, but it's still probably an independent film. I don't believe they probably didn't spend much on the budget for this. I'll look it up later. But let's just say their budget was like, I don't know. Who's in it? Let's see. Before I talk about budget. It's a comedy drama. They made $12 million worldwide. Well, domestic. They didn't do anything. They didn't release it internationally. It went in 3,300 theaters. Approximately 3,343. If they spent like $5 million on this film, or $8 million, they still made a profit, right? So anyway, we'll get back to that. Number 3 is Evil Dead Rise, $5.9 million, bringing the worldwide total to $115 million and some change. So, okay, Evil Dead met with good response there. I'm cool with that. Then we have Super Mario Brothers movie knocked out of the number one spot with 18.6 million more, bringing it up to $1.1 billion worldwide. And the number one spot, speaking of Marvel, speak of the devil and he shall appear. The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 debuted at over this weekend at a whopping $118 million domestically, $170 million internationally, with a whopping nice total of $289 million for the first 3 days. Not bad. Not bad at all. So Marvel, just as I speak, superhero fatigue, what? See? Why is it just a coincidence that the superheroes that we know did this well? So, superhero fatigue. Don't let, we're living in the times of hot takes and sound bites and slogans. The superhero fatigue thing, it's just another slogan that, So anyhow, you're watching Real Talk, the Jedi Council director. I'm the director. Brought my Jedi Council with me. I got Ralph here. Kev's on the way. Ralph, what's up, brother? You in the building?
What's going on? How come the camera isn't?
Is your camera on?
Yeah.
Did I have a
hold on a second.
Lock, a cover on it?
No.
Are you sure? See, there you go. Your camera has a cover.
There you go. No. It should have switched. It's on the other camera. No, sometimes I don't understand any of this stuff. But hi everybody. Sorry about that. I'm here. Yeah. How's everybody doing? But that's actually an interesting subject that you said. I think there is. Oh, now I'm super. Hey, wow, look at that face. I think there is a such thing as superhero fatigue, but I don't think it's superhero fatigue. I think maybe, just maybe, it's Marvel fatigue. I think it might be Marvel fatigue. Now, while that number for Guardians of the Galaxy is great, that wasn't. It was tracking at 150. It's way below what it was tracking at, right? Mm-hmm. And then we'll see what it is next week. If it's got a huge drop off, that backs that case up. But I've been talking about this thing all day. I said, realistically speaking, okay, there's a number of factors going on with to give validity to that statement of superhero fatigue. A lot of Phase 4 vastly underperformed, right? Shang-Chi was good. Eternals, a lot of people didn't like Eternals. Doctor Strange, so they've made Thor into like a running joke, And I mean, Black Panther was good, but Black Panther's that's really got a built-in excuse because of no Chadwick Boseman. You couldn't avoid that one. So maybe it forced them to push up a storyline that could have got later, where you could have phased it out. Now you got to rush it. So okay, right, and then wait a minute, and then also I think the other problem now is strictly with the Marvel ones that now because of Disney Plus, instead of you just going to the movie to see the movie, you got to also get Disney Plus because there's parts of the TV shows that's involved with the movie. So like you're like, dag, I just want to see a movie. If you wouldn't see Doctor Strange and you didn't see WandaVision, you kind of would have been kind of confused by Doctor Strange. So So what I'm saying is that perhaps it is not a superhero fatigue. Maybe it is just right now Marvel fatigue. And really, one, would it be so bad for Marvel to take a year off and say, hey, for 1 year, we're just going to put stuff into development. We're going to do it, but we're not releasing any new movies. Give everybody a chance to catch up to everything. And this is where, and I can't believe I'm saying this. This is probably the only thing that I'm going to give Warner Bros. Credit for, is that they're not putting out a DC movie every year. If they were doing that, then maybe it really would be superhero fatigue. But now think about it, could Flash be the savior of that statement? If Flash comes out and it kills, and not just open big, it's got to be steady. It's got to be steady. Because like I said, the same thing with Ant-Man. Ant-Man open big, but it's vastly underperformed what it probably could have been. Could the pandemic still have something to do with that? Could it be that now you can go on your streaming service and see it? So instead of going to movies and seeing it, you just sit at home and watch it. I'm sure
if you want to wait, if you want to wait,
I'm sure, but that affects the box office. All these small little things keep affecting the box office. So when I started seeing that, because I had mentioned that once before, a couple weeks ago, all y'all said I was crazy. But now look at it. Now you've had 3 movies come out. All of them have underperformed. All of them
underperformed for Marvel.
Yes, underperformed for Marvel. But no, a movie making $200 million or $300 million plus is not underperforming. That's overperforming. But Marvel,
that makes my case. Marvel set the bar so high with the first phase, and first and second phase. The first 3 phases, you should say, right? But the first 3 phases, they set the bar so high. And not only do you have to, and like I said, I'm telling you, I think all of those factors play a little bit into it, like what you mentioned. But another big factor that I think a lot of people are failing to mention is the fact of the whole thing of having to be retrained, relearn, meet new people, meet new heroes. When we just spent 10 years with these heroes, and now they're starting to phase those heroes out. So you mentioned Shang-Chi, new hero, right? Then the Disney Plus shows introduced new heroes, introduced in the Hawkeye show, Kate Bishop, introduced Yelena, and she was introduced in the movie for what's her name? Black Widow, the new Black Widow, but then they introduced Miss Marvel. They introduce new characters through the show, stuff like that. And like you said, not everybody's willing to. This is a new thing that they're trying, right? Because by the time doing the first 3 phases during the first 10 years, they didn't have Disney Plus, right? The closest thing they were doing was they wanted to do that. What they doing with Disney Plus, they wanted to do with ABC. But it just didn't work out that way. It didn't work. Marvel's trying to do it.
Thank God. Honestly, for that. Thank God, because
I was trying to do that like with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., for instance.
I was never a big fan of Agents. I'll stand.
But had they been able to do it, maybe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would have been better. Had they been able to do like what they're doing with Disney Plus, because the Disney Plus shows definitely are worlds better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. also had limitations because it was on ABC. Right. That's sure. That's for sure.
And like I said, I think the only time Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really was good when it was leading into a Marvel movie and they may have had a special that leapt right into the movie. Then because then you saw the quality of it vastly improved. Then it went back to the whole
production thing, value went up.
What the hell?
Because I think even at one point Nick Fury made a cameo.
Nick Fury was on.
Lady Sith was on there at one time from the Thor movies. So you had a couple. When that happened, the production value shot up. But the funny thing that cracks me up is, they had that thing going. And they already had someone from the movies, Coulson. You know what I'm saying? It was like Coulson was from the movies, and he's on the show. He was that connection, but they just, I didn't like the way they ended up doing with it. But some of the characters on there, actually, Kevin Feige is actually maybe 1 or 2 characters he's crossing them over to MCU. The rumor is, of course, Quake, who was the character of, I forget her name, but and then the the Asian character. I forget her name. Her character.
Well, you know why she got to get crossed over, because that's Ming Na, and she's hot. Between Boba
awesome.
Fett, you got to bring her on because of that.
Yeah, man, she's already in the, right? She's already in the Disney family. We knew that. She's on no show, so you might as well just bring her in to, as that same Agent May or whatever her name was from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because she's bad. She badder than Maria Hill. I'm sorry, she's nicer than Maria Hill as far as fighting. Maria Hill can't mess with her.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give benefit of the doubt to that, because Maria Hill hasn't really been theoretically showcased. So who knows? She might be as bad as Black Widow. She might be as bad as Black Widow, but right now we don't know, because she's kind of like regulated to like a supporting role. Same thing with Coulson. I mean, if they will have Coulson in the movie, I mean, come on, Coulson is one of the original guys of if you want to say Nick Fury's version of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's like right under him. He might be just as bad as Nick Fury. We don't know that, because they kind of sort of made him in the movies like the comic relief.
Yeah, they did. They made him the comic relief, but he still. I mean, he got busy in the show. He did. Show him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He got busy now. But like I said, that's that. But
he cared more about that car.
I think
he cared more about the car.
I think though, all of the elements are in there, but I think to me the biggest element is just people are like, oh man, now I gotta learn a whole new. I gotta learn a whole new skill. It's almost like learning a new skill, right? It's like learning.
See, you got it right there. You said, "Oh, damn." Damn.
Right, but that doesn't mean that's not this. But that's not superhero fatigue. When they're saying, "Oh man, I got to learn new characters," that's just people being lazy and don't want to learn new characters, or being, holding on to characters that no longer are with us or no longer are whatever. That was the straight demise. And I want to use the word demise because it still did decent, the Wakanda, and it was a good movie. But that was the problem why Wakanda Forever didn't perform the way we would have hoped it performed, because of the naysayers and the people that just didn't want to let go of Chadwick Boseman, or didn't want to let go of recasting T'Challa, not Chadwick Boseman, but recasting T'Challa. And it just brought so much gray cloud over the whole situation.
That's why Black Panther, out of all those movies in Phase 4, Black Panther is the only one that, if you want to say underperformed, why it got legitimate excuse. It's not even an excuse. It got a legitimate situation as to why. But Eternals, no.
Pause.
But let me bring you in, Kev, so I can let you know when we were I don't know how much you heard before you logged on. But my whole point was, okay, the first 3 phases, the first 10 years set such a high bar, and especially with sales, right? And of course, we're getting back to things now, starting to. Pandemic obviously messed up box office, but I'm just saying, forget about the numbers. Just people watching the movies and liking them, because there's a lot of people that say they didn't like the movies of Phase 4 and stuff like that, and some didn't, some did. But my point is, what I mean by one thing that people are failing to suggest or failing to say is the fact that, Marvel went to the top of the mountain, they went over the mountain, and now they're almost like starting again. When it comes to heroes, you're introducing you to new heroes. By the time the next time the Avengers assemble, it's gonna be a whole different team. Very different. Very different team. So you gotta meet these people. You gotta be introduced to these people. So that's why Shang-Chi, stuff like that. Miss Marvel.
Captain America's gone.
Captain America is gone. Stark is gone. Vision's gone.
Vision's
Black Widow's gone. Yeah, but as of right now, Vision as we know him is gone.
Widow is gone.
Widow's gone. The Hulk is tied up in all this other stuff, so he
Spider-Man is
in and out
going
of
with
Sony.
No, but you know what? But realistically speaking, Spider-Man is gone only because he erased everybody's memory.
No. But what information?
Not Spider-Man, just
on?
Peter. Just Peter.
Well,
I mean, Spider-Man, the hero, is still.
I'm saying, as far as him being part of the Avengers group, he's kind of gone because he got wiped out. So he can start all over.
None of them remember him. Yeah,
none of them know him.
Oh, okay. From that perspective.
So in that case, part of the team.
But here's the thing. Why that's still wrong, because he didn't forget who he is. So he understands. So
I know, but
he's still.
But he's not part of Avengers no more, though.
No, at this point, no, because there is no Avengers right now. So so you can't. So to even say that he's not a part, nobody's a part of, because there's no Avengers. That new team, a whole new threat has to come, and when that new threat comes, that's what's going to build up your new Avengers team. But it's a process again of going through brand new characters,
new villain as well. They got to introduce the new villain,
and that part. That's the other part that I think you're until you really figure out what's going on with Jonathan Majors. The whole part about your villain is kind of up in the air right now.
Yeah,
the villain never will be up in the air because he can easily be switched out.
But the villain will. But that goes to what I just said. Until you figure out what happens to Jonathan Majors, your villain,
Ralph,
like you just said,
Ralph. Remember, if you watch Loki solved that whole problem for you. Remember, all variants aren't the same. Even though they showed in Quantumania, they showed all of his variants kind of sort of having the same resemblance. But technically speaking, going by the laws of Loki, they can easily come back with him as an alligator. Really.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Is that until you figure out not Jonathan Major as that character, Jonathan Major himself. If you say this whole thing with Jonathan,
he doesn't matter.
No, Kev, he really does. It does matter, right? You've already introduced him as the possibility he's going to be the next baddie. So now that he's going through this civil problem, until you figure that part out, what happens to him? Do you sit there and say, okay, it's serious?
Again, Ralph, I just answered that question.
Kevin, listen to what I'm saying for a second. When I'm talking about the storyline, I'm talking about real life.
Real life doesn't matter when it comes to the story, Ralph.
Because
that's what we're talking about. We're talking about story. You're talking about real life. We're talking about story.
But I'm not talking.
Your point is
I'm trying to sit there and say it's this until the thing with Jonathan Majors, not the character. Because you can switch out the character. That's fine. But what do you do with Jonathan Majors himself? You've given this guy a contract.
Well, right? I mean, they're gonna have to deal with it.
You got to deal with that problem.
Cross that. But here's the deal with that. The situation with that is that really has nothing to do with this so-called superhero fatigue thing.
No, I agree. But I'm saying that
just happened. So the people, So what I mean is they're introducing new characters, new heroes, new villains. New villains meaning by the characters. New villains. Mm-hmm. Now, this Guardians of the Galaxy, you're about to get another new character, Adam Warlock. You know what I'm saying? So these are all different things. Now, even though the Guardians of the Galaxy are they're a known crew. That's why one of the reasons why it did so well, on its opening and stuff like that. Right. Now they're like, okay, all right, we know these people. Let's go see this.
Let's go see it for me.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Let's go see it.
And not only that, but now we're everybody's outside again now, pretty much.
Got nothing to do it.
Ralph, I've been to the movie theaters through the pandemic all the way up until now. Don't tell me it doesn't have nothing to do with it.
But
I sat in movies, Ralph, where there should have been where it should have been filled out to capacity.
But
I sat in movies during the pandemic where there shouldn't have been a lot of people in it.
But Kev, while that sounds really what you're saying, movie theaters are more than just the theater that you're going to. Someplace else, they very well may be packing it every single night, and some places it may be vacant. So you can't sit and say, "Well, everybody's outside," because
Ralph, I don't go to just one movie theater. I'm pretty much spread out between. When it comes to Long Island,
unless you are going to movie theaters in other states beyond New York City, then you can't sit there and say, well, because I was in this theater in New York City and it's packed when I was in this theater in Long Island. If you say, well, I was in the movie theater last night in New York, and then today I'm in the movie theater in Florida, and tomorrow I'm in the movie theater in Los
Ralph,
Angeles.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, Ralph. Here's why I can say what I'm saying is valid. Because I used to stay going before I got COVID and before I had kidney failure, and my legs went out on me, I stayed in the city. I was always in AMC 25 or the Regal across the street.
Okay.
So I know what a crowded theater, and also the theater. One of the theaters that I go to on Long Island is located in a mall. That theater was always packed before the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, that thing went down to a trickle. As they started letting people back outside, Roosevelt Fields AMC started becoming more packed. Now it comes packed now to the point where I don't even go there anymore because it's back to normal.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm sure all of it has something to do with it, but
it all plays a part.
It all plays a part, but the biggest thing I'm thinking is the fact about this. You know, people. The reason why people generally, the general consensus, you can say that it's fair to say the general consensus that people compared the new phase to the old phase, and they felt that the new phase was much worse, right? That's a general consensus. A lot of people feel that way, right? A lot of fans, a lot of diehard fans even felt that way.
But here's the sad part about that. You're trying to make a comparison when in the first phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there was no comparison. The only comparisons that we had.
Well, that's what I said. They set the bar so high. It's so hard to they may not ever top phase 1, 2, 3.
They're never going to do, because that was their opening statement to bring in comic books fully to film. And this is not to disinclude Bryan Singer, what he did with X-Men, Brett Ratner, or even with what Wesley and them did with Blade. Not to disclude any of that, but this was a new introduction into bringing. Basically, what they did was they took this thing and they did it slowly. They did it with Iron Man, and then they slowly started. And once they got their footing and they figured out what they were doing,
right.
But now they're starting to try to. And I think right now, I think what they're doing right now is they're like, hold up, we got this thing right the first time. What are people so disappointed in? To be honest with you,
they're disappointed. They just don't want to learn the new character. They're like, it's like starting over. They don't want to let go.
Yeah. But I mean that aside, and if I'm putting myself to where if I'm in the Marvel room, aside from people just being lazy, let's push the lazy people aside. What is it that? Because I don't understand what they did wrong. Captain America and the Winter Soldier was dope. I don't see what was wrong with that. I mean, outside the fact that they had to change the plot line because of the pandemic, because that original plot line was supposed to be pandemic related. It wasn't supposed to be what it was.
Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. I thought it was.
I liked it.
It was pretty good.
I liked it.
I wasn't head over heels in love with it, but I did like it.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. Out of the shows, I think the most well done of the shows was probably WandaVision and Loki. I think they were,
and Hawkeye. Hawkeye was dope.
Hawkeye was was I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. But I think I don't know. I didn't rank the shows, but if I had to rank them, my top 3 would definitely be WandaVision. Loki would probably be number 2, and then I don't know, maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier, but have to see.
And also the thing that people are forgetting too is that Marvel along with a whole lot of theaters didn't know what the theater landscape was going to be like. We pretty much called what it was going to be like. Early on, we called this thing that streaming was going to become a thing, but they didn't know how much and how well, and rightfully so. The actors are the ones who really were lobbying for theaters to be back.
Yeah. Because they get paid more money.
Way more money. Way more money.
Way more money if theaters are back. Right. Yeah.
So
unless you're The Rock is getting $20 million from Netflix.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's different. But other than that, you want to get those you want to get those residuals. You want to get those, the money.
You want to get the performance bonuses,
right? That come back from the performances and the box office receipts.
Box office results. You want that money.
You want that money for sure, and that's fine.
And that's kind of sort of my point, is that until they were reassured that the box office was going to do what it was supposed to do, Marvel had to change their whole. They had to go through. They couldn't really go out and set a course on. Let's start all over. Well, we could start all over. Let's introduce new characters, but we're not going to tie them to anything. For right now, we're just going to let these characters be who they are. Just like, and technically speaking, Iron Man kind of started out the same way, with the exception of Nick Fury at the end. They changed what he had to say at the end.
And he actually didn't come. Did he come at the end of Iron Man, or at the end of Iron Man 2?
Yeah, he's at the end of
Iron Man. Iron Man, yeah, okay, there you go.
And
that was their way. Remember, they talked about that. They were always going to make that tease and make that happen. But what I'm saying is, people who are, like we said, the core of the first group of Avengers is gone. No Iron Man, no Black Panther, but T'Challa. No Iron Man, no T'Challa, no Cap. Well, Steve Rogers Cap. No Steve Rogers Cap.
People are not happy about Ironheart already.
Right. Ironheart, and they're not really as happy about that. They love Falcon because Falcon is a known character. But let's see how this whole Falcon being Captain America is received.
Yeah.
Black Falcon being Captain America.
Thor is now the comic relief.
Thor is a joke.
Why you do that
now? Which I told y'all way back with Ragnarok. I saw this coming. Now people are criticizing the new movie, the latest movie, and they're saying what I was saying from Ragnarok. I was like, they're too heavy with the comic relief with Thor. Thor does not need to be. He's not that type of character. Never was in the comic books. He's funny because he's different. He's funny because he's awkward. He's funny because his traditional ways of doing things, talking, acting, is not like us, and that's the funniness about it. Yeah. But they turned him into a straight comic relief. He got more jokes now.
Ant-Man was a comic relief. Ant-Man was a comic relief.
But you got to remember why. But you got to remember why they ended up going in this direction. They ended up going in this direction because they said, "Oh, Thor's too serious. It's too much with the." Those of us who collected Thor comic books, we knew what it was. It just was what it was. It was fantasy.
The way he was in the first movie was perfect, because you know how he'll drink, he'll drink some, I like this, and then I want another, and he slams the thing. That's funny because we don't do that here. But he's from another world. He's like a Viking, basically, almost like that type of deal. So he's a Bruja type of dude in a world that's not not built like that. That alone is funny. You could play off of that stuff, but it got too much. And I saw it coming with Ragnarok. Everybody was like, no, you didn't like Ragnarok? It was great. Yeah. I was like, no.
I like Ragnarok, dude. I think Ragnarok was a perfectly good balance. But what happened was, unfortunately, like the same thing that happened with Shane Blackman with Iron Man 3. Nobody looked at it and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" No. But it was down like that.
Yeah, what happened was too many people laughed at Ragnarok, and those jokes went over. So now now you got to come back and be even more. James Gunn. The other one, Taika. Taika Waititi had to come back and say, "Well, I got to make it even more funny now." Now you got these stupid screaming goats. That was terrible. I was like, "This is a disaster."
It was funny, but it was just overdone.
The first time it was funny. The first time it happened, you're like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty funny." And then they just kept going with it and it just dragged like you drag a joke. And it's like, dude.
That was kind of sort of my point. Is that like with Shane Blackman? No, and in particularly in this case, because they knew what the type of person they were dealing with Taika Waititi, they should have been able to be like, hey, listen, especially if you're looking at dailies, like you should be able to piece together what a movie is starting to look like. And you should be able to dial back and be like, okay, that's a little bit too much of that. Let's pull that back.
Let me tell you something. All they needed to do was sit down with the Russo brothers. But, the Russo brothers used him perfectly. They used his humor perfectly. They used his darkness perfectly, his seriousness perfectly. He was, throughout most of Infinity War and Endgame, Thor was serious. He was back to that seriousness. He made jokes when he was supposed to. And then, the whole part about him with the belly and stuff, that was funny. But he wasn't, the character wasn't per se trying to be funny. He was just literally depressed. And that's why he looked like that.
That's why it fit. That's
why it fit. Perfect. Shout out to the Russo brothers, by the way. Y'all dudes, man. Y'all moved up my list of creators and directors. They were always up there, but they moved me higher. Oh, yeah. You know why? Don't even get me started. The new show, Citadel. Woo-wee.
Priyanka Chopra. She was on TV this morning. And I was like,
mercy, that is the baddest thing.
That is all woman right there.
I need for both of you to pause on that very note right there, Ralph.
Get the apology.
Both of you to pause. I am. Here it comes. God damn it, here it comes. Jesus Christ. I don't know. In that other show, I don't know what y'all was seeing. To this day, I don't know what y'all was seeing. But now I see it. Good
Lord. You see the light, brother. It's just like coming to Jesus. God. It's just like coming to Jesus. As long as you see the light.
Listen.
Hey, Wes.
I am at the altar.
He said,
I am at the Priyanka Chopra altar on my knees with my offering and the eyes full of tears. God damn it, I might even have the stigmata right now.
I'm sorry. I got up this morning. She was on The View. I instantaneously woke up. I was like, that is all woman right there. That like man. I hate Jonas Brothers. I've
never in my life ever envied a man like I envy the Jonas boy.
Man,
Nick Jonas. And I like Nick Jonas. I liked his music. When he did his solo joint out, I liked his solo joint. I ain't gonna front that. I still get jealous. Yeah, that's how I feel now.
Because she is Indian, that's the only reason why I don't envy him. Because if she's anything like the Indian women that I've dated, and that brother, he's got man. But his only saving grace is that he's a Jonas brother. that she married the Jonas brother, and I think that probably just her family is, he probably can't, even when he's wrong, he's probably right, because her mother's probably like, shut up, He's a Jonas brother.
Shut up. He's a Jonas brother. But anyway, that's a good segue because with that being said, I'm not sure. I don't know how they did it. I'm hoping that they've already, like when who produced that show? That's Amazon, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping Amazon, when they put their order in, they probably already got the order, and we'll see the rest of that show because there's a streamer. They probably bought the whole series and they're just letting it go every week or whatever. And it's not an ongoing thing. But any of these shows that are ongoing, they're shutting down because of this writer's strike. Yeah. Now, there's different levels to this that I wanted to go over. It usually starts with the late night shows. That's where it starts. So Saturday Night Live, all of the late night talk shows done right now. They're all shut down. Pete Davidson
and Blade, just to throw one out there.
Blade, I was gonna get to that. And Pete Davidson was supposed to host, I think, this week Saturday Night Live. That's not happening. Obviously, Saturday Night Live is a show that writes weekly. Every week, write as they go along.
I think they write daily.
Daily. Every day of the week, they're working on the next week's show. So that show is shut down. So it starts with the late nights, and then it moves on to the daytime shows. So daytime talk shows, which there ain't that many left anyway, but Drew Barrymore's show is now, shut down. The Talk and the View and stuff like that. They're gonna start, you're gonna start seeing reruns and stuff of them. They'll probably run it, but then you also got to think about primetime shows and series. Let's see, we got late night shows is the first row. So you got the Daily Show last week tonight with John Oliver, Bill Maher, Late Night with Seth Meyers, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. They're all off. Stephen Colbert, he's off. Network television is the next to go, as they say. NBC's Night Court already before it even gets started. NBC's Night Court stars Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. Currently, their writers' rooms are closed. Productions of seasons 4 of CBS's Evil wrapped early following the incident where they rented some picketing writers. Well, there's some writers, because you got to remember what's happening is if you're trying to continue to do your production, the striking writers are coming. They're coming to your set. They're gonna come to your set
because stuff like Evil that shoots when they shoot, because they mostly shoot during the winter. They don't really shoot during the summertime.
But they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it because because now most major networks, Abbott Elementary, the Chicago procedurals, Ghosts, etc., have already wrapped for the summer. However, if the strike extends as long as the 2007 one did, because that went like 3 or 4 months. If it extends, then it's going to definitely, mess them up going into the next seasons of stuff.
Which I don't understand. I understand it, but they should still be. Well, I guess if the season is not complete, they're not going to broadcast anything. If the season is not complete, so
they're not going to broadcast if it's not complete. That's for sure.
Well, at this stage, whatever show you're watching now, particularly on broadcast television or even streaming, they should all be done because generally they start shooting.
I don't think, because I think like Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh I know firsthand. I know a gentleman who works on that show right here but it shoots in Savannah. Mm-hmm. But he's one of the transportation supervisors, and their show is. They did do. I think they stopped. They may have gotten that season in or most of it in, but they're supposed to start back up because they shoot during the summer. They like to shoot during the summer.
But that would be for the next season. That's what I'm saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that particular show shoots through the winter going into the summer, and because that show originally, that show was starting. That show started. Actually, that show was supposed to start now. Actually,
right. And
now
they told
it.
my friend, the gentleman who works for them, they told him, yeah, hopefully you. They told them this months ago. They saw this coming, so they were like, listen, it don't look good for the writers. Like the writer's strike is probably gonna happen. So, you know, I'm just gonna give you. I don't know not to tell you what to do with your money, but you need to stack a little bit, so you can be good for the summer. Because you probably gonna be no production. There'll probably be no work over the summer at all.
Yeah, because that show usually breaks up. It like they'll have a bunch of it shot. Like they're not. And this was what's funny is this is the final season. So I'm kind of surprised that they haven't got it all shot. But usually they shoot half the. They usually shoot half of it. They're regular. They shoot half of it. And then they got that other show. I wonder what's gonna happen with that show.
Right now, nothing until the writers strike. They're not gonna be doing that show. So you got daytime soaps, of course. Even the soap operas are. They're affected. They're also a daily or weekly type of deal. They write their shows and they're recording. Soap opera actors are the hardest working actors in television. I have to say that. Because they work every day. Like they work, 5 days a week, all day. Like it's like a job, like a real job. And they they're like theater performers. Right.
With
it's like theater performers.
With the exception of their script is never the same.
Theater's doing the same thing, but they're doing different stuff and it's changing as it goes. So the Young and the Restless, some of the Bold and the Beautiful, the other ones they're definitely out. So then now we get to streamers. So with that, already, Stranger Things, new season, the Duffer Brothers has already announced that they would postpone production on the final season of Stranger Things due to the strike. And they said, quote, while we're excited to start production with our amazing cast and crew, it is not possible during the strike. And then they said, we hope that they find a fair deal reached soon so we can all get back to work. There was what's her name? We just said Abbott Elementary, Quinta Brunson. She was out there with the writer. Remember, she is a writer. She writes Abbott Elementary. So she was out there with the writers picking it. She actually had a sign that read, AI can't write whatever that character's name's rhymes. He's like, AI. It said AI can't write Tariq's rhymes or whoever that character is on our elementary.
Well, Wes, I think you should kind of sort of explain to people, because I think people probably don't understand it, because they're probably like, well, if a show is complete, why can't it still screen? Why can't it still shoot? And I think you kind of sort of need to explain them the process of how writers are still needed on set. Sometimes
good segue. I was gonna go into that. So I was saying, I mentioned a little bit earlier, especially with network television, not so much with streamers, especially with network television, the writers are still used and needed on set, or just they're in their own little zone in the writer's room, as they call it, right? Constantly working on the scripts, evolving, changing them, updating them, whatever the case may be. So they it's not like they just write the episodes and chill. They still got jobs to do, and it's a whole working machine, right? Now, when it comes, not so much with films. With films, it's more like a script supervisor that'd be on set. That's pretty much handling that sort of things, and that kind of goes along with, they're kind of like in the same vein as some of the ADs, second AD, first AD. But still in all, even with some films, as we mentioned earlier, Blade is in the writing phase. And it's been troubled before. The writers strike almost has given them an excuse, in my opinion, because they've been screwing up from day one. And it's all one simple reason. they don't want to make it R-rated. If they just make it R-rated, they're trying to write a PG-13 Blade movie. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. Come on now. At this point, when y'all bought Disney, when you bought Fox, you should have already had in your mind, listen, there's certain films that and shows that we're just going to have to, say, listen, we're going to have to go with what worked for them. I'm not going to take, but that's why they did it. They made the exception supposedly with Deadpool. Allegedly, they made the exception because Ryan Reynolds is all over that. He's like, nah, man.
I think that's part of the reason why they didn't bring Wesley back.
Exactly. He wouldn't have had it.
Because Wesley was probably like, yo, this is what the character is. This is what he does.
That's why they didn't bring him back at all. They should have at least brought him back as a producer, out of respect, in my opinion. He should have at least got offered a producer position.
But any of those shows that open up they don't, and what they don't understand is, here's the dumb thing that Disney does not understand. You make a lot of your content is violent in nature in the first place, but you dress it up different, so it hits different, so it doesn't. It's not as effective. But then you have parents like me. I'm gonna say it. I'm a bad parent. Listen, I am. I kept my kids and my stepkids up late to go see Watchmen at 12 o'clock in the morning, knowing that they had to get up and go to school and that was going to be a 3-hour movie, but they loved it. Right now, I still thank God that these movies are released early. So now when my kids get out of school, my grandkids get out of school, I take them early. But guess what? When Blade comes out, regardless to what its rating is, maybe my granddaughter won't go, but my grandson is definitely going to go. He's 10.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, and this is just my opinion on it. You expose these kids are playing all kinds of, and I'm not, and this is the one thing. My grandson, he's a real kid. He just plays Roblox, and he loves Sonic, and he's, and now he's in the Mario Brothers, and he loves his, what's the other thing, the things that spin. I forget their name, but anyway. He's into that kind of anime. But for the most part, 90% of the kids out here, these parents don't even know what their kids are playing. They're playing Grand Theft Auto. They're playing all kinds of crazy. Some of them are playing with their parents.
Yeah, what's that gun game? The military game. What?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about that. Like you go. Like, I mean, they showed it in Thor when that scene where him and what's his face?
Yeah, he was playing. He was playing Fortnite. They playing Fortnite.
He's like, here goes so and so. He's up here being a bully again.
Yeah, they were, because you could talk to each other. I saw that firsthand when I walked in and watched my son playing. I think he was playing Grand Theft Auto or something like that. And I was just like, and they're like talking to each other, and I'm just like, wow, games are funny now. But
I was up on that early. But my point being is, you give these ratings. You know what needs to happen with the movie theaters needs to happen. What is the same thing that happened with the comic books, where they basically gave them the finger, and they was like, you know what, screw your rating. We don't care. We're publishing our books. You're not going to, you as parents are not going to sit down and tell us. And I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm tired of people complaining about, don't complain to me. And I know you just admitted yourself, you called yourself a bad parent. You're not, but I know you said that. But I say seriously to the bad parents, don't complain to me because you're a bad parent. It's not my fault that your kid snuck and saw this movie and they weren't supposed to read. They weren't supposed to see it.
You see what is Ralph doing? Ralph is laughing. Why? Because what did you do, Ralph? What did you do?
Let me tell you. Do you know how many times when I was growing up as a kid and my parents took me to the movie and I said I gotta go to the bathroom and I dipped in and saw a quick flash of Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Street or something.
Of course.
I mean that
we all
it was easy. It was easy.
We went in with other people, or I kept older friends. Every friend I had was older than me, so I was always at these movies because they were 17. You know, when I was 13, 14. I had friends that was 17, you know what I'm saying? And we'd go in and they'd be able to get into these movies.
I went to the movies by myself and I used to be able to get into R-rated movies. I only had one problem. One time I went to go see Aliens and I went to go buy the ticket and the girl said, "You have ID?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Well, you gotta be 17 seats." I was like, "Well, I'm 16, I'll be 17 in a couple weeks." She's like, "No." So I was like, "Okay." And I just went to another theater right around the corner and saw it there. Like, what?
Yeah, I fortunately grew up out here in Long Beach, and we grew up with the Lido Theater. We actually had two theaters. We actually had 3 movie theaters out here. But when both of them closed, the only movie theater we had was the Lido Movie Theater. And on Sundays, they had the triple feature. And I'm telling you, I saw stuff on Sundays that I know I had no business seeing.
Well, exactly. We all went through it, and that's what I'm saying. But my point is this: people complaining, "Oh, this movie shouldn't have been this and this." That. No, don't worry about what my movie should have been. You worry about your kids. Worry about where your it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? That's what you need to be thinking about. But anyway, so some of the streaming shows that we mentioned, Stranger Things. It says the writer's room for Unstable, Big Mouth, Cobra Kai, and the Yellow Jackets have all closed. So those writers' rooms have closed. The Community movie that was already on Peacock reportedly has been delayed. Streamers such as HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Hulu, and Netflix tend to bank a lot of shows than networks do. So I mentioned this earlier at the top of the show. What they mean, that term for people who may not know, banking shows meaning like they've already bought the shows. Like, so for instance, just like Netflix, usually Netflix is like a binge watch type of deal. So they usually buy, once they pay for the show, they go ahead and go and shoot it, and that's what it is. They got the whole thing already. They just if they decide, and Amazon does that too. Amazon has the whole thing already. It's already been shot. Because if you ever notice, a lot of the times when these shows come out, and then they may go talk to one of the actors from the show, the actor looks like completely different. They're probably on another film or another show or something. They look completely different because they shot that show months ago. You know what I mean? So with them, it's a little bit different.
But the difference between Amazon and Netflix, though, and even Hulu now, because I'm starting to watch shows on Hulu, and a lot of the shows are, you could tell that they bought the whole the whole block.
They bought the
but
whole
they're
block.
not showing the whole block.
No, they're just releasing it weekly. But because they're not network type, but shows like Power, it still runs like a network runs. So they're gonna shoot a certain part of it, and they may not have the whole season done. I believe Power Ghost Book 2, they were shooting season 4 already. So I don't know if they're done with season 4. For their sakes, hopefully they are. But they were well into season 4. If they're not done, they're almost done. Like they're well into season 4 filming. So these are the things that are affected. But they bank the shows. So that you're gonna still see some stuff pop up that's quote unquote new on the streaming services because they've already banked the shows. The shows have already been shot and stuff like that. They may be in post-production. Like post-production isn't gonna stop. So it's really just
but the downside to it too is that some of the stuff that you're expecting to see again, depending on how long this writer strike goes on, some of your stuff is probably going to get canceled.
Well, some stuff might end up getting canceled or at least pushed back. But now we know who really is affected. But who benefits, if anyone? Well, hold on to your
Right
hats,
now,
gentlemen,
nobody.
ladies and no, yes, they do. Hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you who benefits from it. We do. Podcasts is going to rise as you see, as television and stuff and things start to taper off because of the strike, depending on how long it goes. In return, you will see a rise in podcasts because and you might start seeing people from these shows, some of these actors and stuff. This is a good time to be a podcaster, to be honest with you, because we're not governed by writers, stuff like that. We do it all. If we do write, we write it ourselves. We do it off the cuff, and none of us are in the union. So we benefit. We get the benefit from this. We might actually be able to get some of these writers on. We might be able to get some of these actors that ain't working right now on, or these writers that ain't working right now on.
That's true.
Because
that's a good point.
You know what I mean? So expect a rise in podcasts, podcast views, and things like that. You're gonna see some new ones pop up in between now and the next 4 months. You're gonna see some new podcasts pop up. So you'll be, oh shoot, so and so, from that show has the hell they got a podcast,
Well, guess what? And with that being said, I'm kind of psychic, so I'm feeling out into the ether of the people that are on our podcast right now. And I'm wondering, here's a question that came up from someone out there. So what about independent filmmakers, which we so much push ourselves more towards being geared towards?
Independent
they don't
filmmakers,
stop writing.
No, independent filmmakers also, it doesn't affect them at all. Whether they benefit from it remains to be seen. The benefit is they get, people, if things start to taper off, people will start watching more independent stuff. So expect, the Tubies of the world views to go up. Expect some of the streamers, stuff like that, some of the independent stuff to go up. And like I said, content that's put on, on the internet, content that's put on YouTube, and of course podcasts, they're gonna all go up. So really, the only people that benefit from it are the people that's within our realm at this moment of podcasters, because people, like I said, you're gonna see like, oh shoot,
Does that mean
Quinta
we're going to see
Brunson
a
got a
rise in
podcast.
stuff in the summer film festivals? Should we see a rise in content as well?
Content, what's possible? Yeah, in the film festivals, because they,
wait a minute, but
that's a
something.
good
I'm
question.
gonna be honest with you. Until it's right, you may not have any film festivals at all.
No, there'll still be film festivals because most of them are still independent. You know what I mean? Most of them. If you're talking about like Sundance and stuff, you'll still have those, because these are, a lot of these films a lot of them still are independents. You know what I mean? They don't have distribution yet, so the film was already filmed, and they're going to exhibit at the exhibiting at a film festival. I don't see the harm in that. That doesn't harm the writers in any way. It's not like an event, like see the MTV Awards. Perfect segue. The MTV, like an event, it's not going to happen. The MTV Awards did a pre-recorded version of it, and none of the people really was there. And all the people that got awards, they accepted awards, from their backyards. They.
I got something to say. I looked at that for a hot second last night because I was on the channels. When did the MTV Movie Awards mix movies categories, mix movies and TV shows together? I thought they were always separate. It's like I saw one was like best fight scene. You got John Wick going up against some TV show. I was like, when did you guys start doing that? I don't
know. I don't remember them ever doing anything, a whole show separate, like MTV television or what. Like I've never.
Right, but it was the
MTV.
MTV. Right, it was always
just the MTV
movie
awards. Yeah.
But like
maybe they just added TV. I don't know. I want to say off the top of my head, TV wasn't always there. They probably was just movies for a long time, and decided to add television shows.
They added television shows with stuff like 24 and all of that stuff started becoming popular.
Right, when
TV
shows
started becoming good.
right, that and Lost, and when shows became really good, and good storylines, good acting, I guess they decided, let's add television to it as well.
And you remember also, Ralph, the other reason why they probably switched to that too, because I just happened to turn the TV on last night. I've been sick, so I was just needed some background noise. And I was putting on the Blacklist, but before it came on, I happened to turn it on when they were talking about Best Kiss. And they ran off, like, from what I could hear, it was like 20 different Best Kisses, almost. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But I think the reason why is because there's probably not enough Best Kisses and stuff like that in movies, or certain stuff to fill their categories. It's not enough of it in film anymore.
Well, they didn't have time. It's not just that's not enough, Kev. They didn't have time to get it all together because they had to hurry up and do this show and put it out there. Because once again, you got to do these things without disrespecting the writers, because literally there was a whole group of writers ready to pick it outside of where the MTV Awards was going to be held, because they found out that they were still doing it. So they did it that way, definitely, because they didn't want, hey, we're not trying to, no disrespect to the writers. Right.
It was like, our show still needs to go on.
I mean, even though it's like it's still an award, but is that really fair to, like, if you put, let's say, Best Kiss, and you put Best Kiss from Grey's Anatomy, but you got something from the movies, like, is that really fair to the TV show? No.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said,
that was the other point, Ralph, that I was trying to make too, is the fact also that movie actors are now cross-pollinating, basically, what I'm trying to say, between television and
you see movie stars in television shows.
So that's
now
one of the,
than you did before.
Yeah. Especially the younger actors are now cross-pollinating between television.
Even older ones. Look at Auntie. Look at
she's a TV star now.
She's a TV star and a movie star. She goes in and does it. But I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, right. You go both ways. Cross pollination.
And she kisses a lot, and she kisses Homeboy a lot in that show.
Well, shit, wouldn't you?
I be kissing her ass every time.
I guess I would. Yeah, I guess.
I think I'd be making extra scenes. I think we need to rehearse.
I'd be slipping the writer's money. I'd be like, let me add another.
Here's a
C note.
Yeah, but here's the one thing that I did notice about that show. As of the last couple of episodes, she's been giving him the push off. Like, and Courtney Vance is probably behind the scene, like, listen, you kiss the white boy a little bit too much. I don't know what's going on over there, but you need to dial it back. Because not this week's episode, but the week before, he went out jogging and came back in and was trying to lean in for a kiss, and she was like, "No, buddy, you stink. Go take a shower." But I took that to mean like my husband is like, no more kisses for you.
Yeah.
So they made the point.
I don't think so. I think she's been doing this long enough.
I'm gonna go over. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go over it real quick. Some of the winners of the awards. Pedro Pascal. He won a lot of awards. He was cleaning up
for The Mandalorian.
Yeah, The Mandalorian. She won for like best song or something like that. Then you got, let's see, I forget her name. What is her name? That's my man from Stranger Things, who played Eddie. He won for like best breakthrough performance. Then you have him. You got this young lady here. What's her name? Her name is like Black something. I don't know. What's her name? There you go. Purple Hearts. I said Black something. Purple Hearts. She won that. There's Pascal. She's been winning a lot with her show.
Which was dumb. I'm sorry, man. The White Lotus, A spoiler alert: if you didn't see it, she dies, and she didn't have to die. It was totally dumb, killing her off.
It's the young lady. Her and Pedro won Best Duel from The Last of Us. That's the young lady who's his sidekick in that. Who else we got? There's some other people here.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Oh, Ghostface. That was funny.
Disconnected.
Ghostface wins Best Movie for Scream, and he won Best Fight with him and Gail Weathers.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, come on. He was against, it said John Wick versus everybody, John Wick 4.
But who are those last two people that you skipped past?
They were just like, I think, like the hosts. They didn't win nothing. They were just like talking. I think they were like hosting.
Who the hell are these people?
I don't know. I think they were like hosting or something. But this person's a drag queen, I think, or something.
Are these people from like RuPaul's?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I
Might
think
be
that's
from
what
the
it's from.
RuPaul
Yeah.
show. Is that RuPaul? No.
Yeah, I think that was RuPaul in the upper left-hand corner.
Maybe. They won some sort of reality show thing. I don't know who they are. You know, the young people I'm sure will know. And then we got Best Reality on Screen. Yeah, she was part of their crew, but she just wasn't there. Best Reality on Screen Team, those people there. And then Coolidge won again. She won Most Frightened Performance. She won that. Sometimes. And look at this. Tom Cruise gives his speech from a plane. Of course he does.
Yeah, that was kind of cool though.
Whether or not he deserved to win it, it was funny.
I did think the speech was funny.
Yeah.
Listen, nope. Listen, I am not a Scream fan, but these last two movies, listen, these people are psychotic.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. It was gangster as F when he walked into that bodega and that dude was like, "What's wrong with you, buddy?" And he just straight stabbed him. He just got him right there in front of everybody.
Just stabbed him.
Took the gun from old dude and shot him with his own shotgun.
Yeah,
this dude is gangster.
Listen, and not only, but did you see the way he stabbed him? They took jailhouse tactics. They like, we in the hood, we gonna play like we in the hood. That's it. We gonna keep it a buck.
I said, oh man, you know what? I think I'm gonna have me a Scream marathon now. The Scream 6 just came on streaming. You can find them all on Paramount Plus. All
Which
of
is
them.
Where I watched it, by the way.
Right.
I'm sad to say.
I caught it the last.
I saw that in the movie. I saw that in the movie.
I caught it the last week going out of the movies. It was literally the last day that it was going to be in my movie theater that I go to. So I went and caught it, and it might have been about 3 people in the theater with me, and I went and watched it. By the way, Kev, you're definitely onto something. I finally tried the middle seat, bro.
I told you.
I was like, yo, this is different. This is different. Because I'm an end seat guy. That's just how I am. I like to be on the end. It's just me. It's just my thing.
You cannot enjoy the movie.
I was like, you got something here. I was like, Kev's on to something. I sat in the middle. I was like, yo. And I sat there illegally because no one was in there. So I didn't buy that seat. I bought the end. But I was like, you know what? Let me go check the middle.
But you know who I got to thank for that? Between my pops and Lloyd Ritzberg is who I got to thank for that. Because you know the main reason for sitting, the other stuff came to me later.
Yeah.
But the main reason for sitting, having a good center seat, is to be able to have good audio because you get to hear everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Going on. If you're on one side of the theater, you can't hear everything. But also, it's just like when you're sitting in the living room. And I learned this from another company when I started doing architecture for this audio-visual company. They position people's couches and stuff a certain distance depending on the size of their screen in their house. And when I caught up to that, I was like, oh, shit. Because you be able to, depending on where you're sitting, you don't get you're not locked in, unless you're one of those kind of people that can lock in regardless of where you sit, you can't really you can't really enjoy the full scope of the picture unless you're like in the center of it. So that way you're fully immersed in everything.
Yeah, I mean, now, we talked about these shows, and we just talking about, whatever. But I want to swing back to, with the writers' strike. So, we talked about how it affects different people, different actors, whatever. So now, the writers' strike has kind of backlashed at our sweet little Jenna Ortega.
What?
So striking writers
She can do no wrong. They better leave her alone.
Striking writers mock Wednesday star Jenna Ortega, right? So it says the actress went viral with comments about the writing on her Netflix show. I remember this interview too. She was in an interview where she talked about, some of the stuff she encouraged to change. Like she was doing things. Really, she was joking about it because she was like, I really shouldn't have been doing these things. I was kind of like overstepping my bounds by, making certain changes to lines and stuff like that. She said, because I just didn't feel like it's something that Wednesday would have said,
But that's what actors do.
And that's what she said. So she says here, one person makes a joke and says, Jenna Ortega better be back from New York for her afternoon shift on the picket line. That's what they were saying there. They're basically telling her since you because in the add context to this, someone else said from the writer from the show The Bear, Karen Joseph, or Karen figures her name Karen. Karen Joseph said, "Rewriting is writing. See you at the line, Jenna."
Well, that's kind of sort of my point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's apologizing, but and I guess because she's young and acting, so she feels and also she's of this new age of where she probably doesn't she probably doesn't want to start walking into the realm of being entitled or elite. But guess what? When you studied your craft and when you studied your character, you become your character. So you become the things. So some of the changes that she probably made us believe Wednesday a lot more than what somebody else.
Well, yeah, that's what she said. Because even there's that one part. And I remember this interview when she says there were times on the set that I would almost become unprofessional in a sense. She said where I just started changing lines. The script supervisor thought, that I was like, going through something or so. They said they thought they were gonna go with one thing, and I would have sit down with the writers, and they would be like, "Wait, what happened to this scene?" And she said, and I would have to go through and explain why I couldn't do certain things. And she said, she added, "I don't think I've ever had to put my foot down on a set in the way." In the way that I had to on Wednesday. So everything that she does, everything that I had to play did not make sense for her character at all. And they said her
but
being
I bet you it made sense for a pervert.
She said her being in a love triangle made no sense. And there was a line about a dress that she was to wear to the school dance where she says, "Oh my God, I love it. I can't believe I just said that. I literally hate myself." She said, and I was like, no.
Because Wednesday would never really hate herself.
Right. She would never hate herself for saying something like, just like, "Oh, I can't." Basically, the joke, I guess the punch of that joke was supposed to be, "Oh man, I love it." Well, that's the thing. Wednesday would never say that. So that's what she'd say, like, "Oh my God, I love the dress." And then she's like, "Oh, I can't believe I said that. I literally hate myself." So that's why she's just like, nah, that just doesn't work for Wednesday. At least not for the way I play Wednesday. And then Ortega has previously noted her schedule on the show was extreme, and then it says here she's working 14 hours a day, for 8 months for the 8-episode series. So I didn't get any sleep. I pulled my hair out. There's so many FaceTime calls that I did with my dad, and with me hysterically crying. So but they're so dramatic, the youngins. But
no, I wouldn't. No, you can't say that. Can't say that.
Sure, I can.
Because
they are.
No. Some maybe, but working 14-hour days and just basically being the center of attention. Because remember, old girl Ruby Rose, she was like, screw y'all in this. I ain't built for this life.
Well, exactly. You're not built for it, but that's what you signed up for. So if you ain't built for it, get out the kitchen. Well, which is smart. But the other thing that we need to understand is that's some of the problems with why some of these young artists turn into problem artists, because they don't have outlets, or we shame them for when they, you did not use the S word, Kev. You didn't use the S word.
I did.
You said we shame them. That is such a, what are you, a millennial? Hey, that's it. I go strong for my generation. Screw all that.
Listen.
Suck it up. Walk it off. I'm gonna say like Kat said. If you get hurt, walk it off. If you get dead, no, that's what you said. If you get hurt, keep going. If you get dead, walk it off.
Well, listen, but unfortunately, the one thing,
shit ton of money to do this. So
yeah, you are.
And in all fairness, coming from the other side of the camera, those people had to be there 14 hours too. Those people got to be there longer than her. So if she was working 14 hours, they were working
at least
18.
16.
Yeah, they were working 16.
At least 16.
Right. Those people were working.
But my point is, at least she had an outlet to reach out to, and that's kind of really my point, is that she had her dad to reach out to. Because what she could have said is what most of these millennials say is, "Oh, I reached out to my best friend to get help."
Their best friend that they knew for 5 months.
Exactly. No, what did she do? She reached out to who she was supposed to reach out to.
Oh yeah,
I bet her dad told her, "Stop bitching, just do the work."
Break the check hole.
Stop bitching.
It would be, I'd be like,
first of all, because first of all, even if you weren't set to 14 hours, you wasn't working 14 hours.
No, you
had stopped to readjust camera lights, angles.
You were sitting.
But see, here's from a person who doesn't sleep. But from a person who doesn't sleep, that can weigh a toll on you, and some people it weighs a toll on them differently. Some people it weighs a toll on them differently. So I can.
I love Jenna Ortega. I mean, maybe she just didn't know what she was getting into. Maybe it's her first time doing a series. She didn't really know what she was getting into. I get it, but obviously the point of bringing it up was the writers were mocking her because they were saying, "Oh, you want to talk about how you were changing lines? So guess what? Rewriting is writing. Pick your ass up a sign and get on this line." That's basically what they were saying.
And you know what they can do. But you know what they can do with that? They can take bricks, because you know what? Are they asking any other actors that do that to get up?
I mean, no other actors talked about doing it. They were just. I guess that was their way of. They got a way to take a little shot at her, because her going on saying, she was kind of saying it just like, she wasn't saying it to knock them. But she was just saying, she seems to be like a straight shooter type.
Shooter, she is.
So, she would just say, it just wasn't working. I don't think they liked that when she said that, because you're basically saying that you used your stardom to.
I don't think she used her stardom. I think what she used. I think, and from watching her performance, I think she used her knowledge, because you as a director know this. You sit down with these people and you ask them, okay, you to do? I need for you to be this.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, I'm going to be this. Now, what most actors would do, they'll ask the director, okay, how far can I go? How far can I go? Now, they probably told her, well, you know.
Well, they knew that she was in the favor of the director. So that's what I meant by stardom. You know, the co-star, the guest star and co-star, they wouldn't have been able to do that. Because her stardom does come into play because of who she is. She's the lead. She's the star of the show. That does come into play because the supporting characters, they wouldn't have been able to do that.
It does come into play. It does come into play, but
she's in the favor of the director, of course. You know, so they probably just like, all right. And the writers can't really do nothing about it because they're not always on set when that type of stuff happens. They can't really do anything about it if it happens.
But I guarantee you. But see, here's the thing, and here's what sucks about what they did about making a meme. You make a meme after the fact, but you know what? Did you actually watch it? And this would be my question to anybody that wants to tell her to pick a side. Did you watch her performance to see and get a copy of the script and take a look at it and see why it was changed? Because
they were just being more sarcastic. I think it was more sarcastic by saying rewriting is writing. So if you're a writer, quote unquote, then you need to be out here with the writers. So that was, I don't think they really wanted there. I think they were just being sarcastic. But anywho,
my only thing about
so they're like, so you can rewrite our stuff, but you can't support us and be out here with us. But yet you could jump on and play writer and change lines,
which is stupid. You gotta take something that she said way back then and then gonna bring it forward, and that's the bullshit that I hate about this generation of Supergirl. Keep that out.
That's definitely so. With that being said, also with the MTV Awards, real quick before we change that chapter and in that and go over some of these song things, I will just read the list of winners of the categories. So best movie went to obviously Scream 6. That was Ghostface. Best show went to The Last of Us. Actually, very surprised by that. Not surprised, pleasantly surprised by the show that it did, that it was good as it was, because it's one of the first series and or TV or movie that's based on a game that was really good. Like, a lot of these movies, like Tomb Raider was good, the first one. But a lot of those other movies, like I know the one that you hate, I hated it too. The Assassin's Creed, stuff like that.
That movie was terrible. And I hate
there's a lot of them that Resident Evil was good.
But this is different because while I was at dialysis, one of the texts there, every time that this guy would talk to me, he'd be like, "Kev, did you watch Last of Us?" And then he would just go into this whole rant about the video game, and I'm like, "Dude, I never played the game." And
game was great. I played it and beat it, but it was a great game. I was good to see some of the similarities in there. So that was good. That one that beat out, Stranger Things, White Lotus, beat out a lot of movies, shows. Best performance of the movie goes to Tom Cruise, as we saw him fly. We basically saw most of the winners except his speeches, so you know who won, but I'm just officially putting it out there. Best hero was Pedro Pascal, Last of Us. Best villain was Elizabeth Olsen, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So as Wanda, she won best villain.
Wow, she was best villain over Dan.
She was the best villain over Harry Styles and Don't Worry, Darling, Jamie Campbell Bow in Stranger Things, Megan, and the Bear in Cocaine Bear.
Listen. They could have dropped those two out. You know what? I'm calling BS on this one. I think behind the scenes they were picking stuff because listen, if Giancarlo Esposito was on there for playing what's his face on The Mandalorian, listen.
I think I think that came out too late. That would probably be next year. That might have came out.
No, it kind of came out too late. That was last season.
It's the season that just ended though. It like just
No,
ended.
but he was in last season.
Oh,
remember?
he was in last season. Oh yeah, he was in last season. Well, so he won. Best Kiss went to, she won. Excuse me, Elizabeth Olsen. She was bad. She was fucked up in that shit in that movie. Best Kiss.
Oh yeah,
goes,
yeah.
She killed freaking
Professor
Mr. Fantastic. And Professor X
baby.
Snapped his neck. She snapped it. She killed them all brutal too. She snapped Professor X's neck. She popped Reed Richards like a damn pinata. and she did Black Bolt dirty. She did.
Oh
Black
yeah,
Bolt
she did him real dirty. She closed his mouth and then made him say, "Huh?"
He said, "Huh?" And that was it. His whole brain exploded. So best kiss went to Madison Bailey and Rudy Pancro for Outer Banks. I don't watch the show or movie. I don't know what it is. Best comedic performance went to Adam Sandler in Murder Mystery 2. Breakthrough performance goes to Joseph Quinn. That's what we said from Stranger Things, playing Eddie. Best fight was Courtney Cox versus Ghostface. We saw him accept it. Then we got most frightened performance. We saw that. That was Jennifer Coolidge. Best duo. We saw that. That was The Last of Us, Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Best kick-ass cast. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Best kick-ass cast went to Stranger Things. The cast of Stranger Things. So they beat out Ant-Man and the Wasp, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Outer Banks, and Teen Wolf, the movie. Best song went to, I think we saw that, right? No. Best song goes to Taylor Swift, Carolina. What? And then you got,
this is why, Ralph, this is why I don't watch this.
And then
I never even heard of that song. What movie was it even from?
Where the Crawdads Sing.
Oh, yeah, no, I got it. I'll take that back.
I'm still going to say. No, yeah, was it still better than either Rihanna's or Lady Gaga? No, it probably wasn't, but because of Kanye West and because of what he did to Taylor Swift, I almost think it was on purpose that he did. Get over the shit with Taylor Swift.
No.
MTV has made it up to her many times.
Ralph, when he did that propelled Taylor Swift to the stratosphere, like to the point to where right now, under a lot of people's eyes, including my own, Taylor Swift can do no wrong. She's like Alicia Keys. It's and Alicia Keys is a whole home wrecker, but she can do no wrong.
So best docu-reality series, of course. Best docu-reality series goes to, of course, the Kardashians. Best competitive series or competition series goes to, that was the RuPaul's Drag Race. That's probably what we saw them. That's probably who that was that we saw. RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star they won the best competition series. And then best host went to Drew Barrymore, the Drew Barrymore Show. Best reality on-screen team, that's what we said. Who
is she with? Who was she up against?
She was up against Joe Madden, Ink Master, Nick Cannon, The Masked Singer, RuPaul's Drag Race, and Kelly Clarkson, the Kelly Clarkson Show. That's what
Damn, if they were going to put her up against talk, it should have been all talk shows.
Ain't that many talk shows left, really?
Yes, they are. You got the Jay Hud Show. Cameron, Sherry. Sherry. Cameron, what's her face?
Cameron Hall.
Looking like my ex-wife.
Cameron Hall,
Cameron Hall. So I mean, I don't get that. You a master just so you could pick Kelly Clarkson, and I love Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, they picked Drew Barrymore.
Oh, Drew Barrymore. Oh,
the Drew Barrymore show.
Who
She
was
beat out Kelly
supposed to be the host?
She's supposed to be the host of the show, who actually declined, not declined, but she had to, pull back because of the writer's strike. She wanted to show, alliance with the writers, solidarity with the writers. So she didn't do it. She didn't host it. Best reality on T-Screen, we saw them. That was those women. And best music documentary, Selena Gomez, My Mind and Me. I don't know what music documentary is supposed to be, but yeah, that's what they got. Best music, maybe it's music for a documentary. And that's pretty much the winners of the show. I mean, all of the winners of the MTV show, they did it in an advance taping. And
nobody cares, honestly.
Yeah. So that was that.
I say it. Nobody really cares about the MTV Movie Awards. It's all political. I just like.
Yeah, because you could.
Yeah, all the shows are political for the most part.
This is real political.
Because I mean, even like I can understand if they picked that Taylor Swift song only because that Where the Crawdads Sing. That was a real popular movie when it came out. I think it came out at the end of last summer or something like that.
I ain't never heard of it. I ain't never heard of it.
I heard of it. Yeah, you kind of sort of had to be. It was a flash in the pan, literally.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I've stopped watching these shows a long time ago because it just doesn't make. It just doesn't make sense. But then again, it can make sense if it's genuinely being picked, which I don't believe it is. If it's genuinely being picked by the audience, just my opinion. And
I can see a lot of this stuff being picked by the fans, the general audience that even still represents the MTV demographic. I could see
Please,
that.
Wait a minute. First of all, who still watches MTV? I don't. Second of all,
can you please say that again? Because they did not hear you
MTV.
back in the bleachers. Who's actually watching MTV?
Nobody. And think about this for a second. All them years they be having People's Choice Awards, the TV Guide Awards, and now this one. They said, well, fans can vote. Have you ever, any of you in your lifetime, seen the ballots for these things where you can actually vote for the People's Choice Awards, the TV Guide Awards, the MTV Awards, the Blockbuster Awards? I have never seen a ballot where you find it where you can vote for this stuff.
The only thing that I've ever seen and that I've ever gotten, and I recently got it in the beginning of this year, I got something from Nielsen. And I usually every couple of years I get something from Nielsen. That's about the only thing that I ever see that I get. I don't even see.
I mean, I feel that regardless. And first of all, I didn't really say MTV. I didn't say MTV viewers. I said the MTV demographic, meaning. I'm just gonna say.
No, we know what you mean. Yeah.
But
we know what you mean.
But my point,
that's why I understood. That's why I understood the reference of.
But people do still watch MTV. They just don't watch it for music anymore. They don't watch it for music video anymore. But people do still watch MTV. But they watch it for the reality shows and the things that's on there and all that other stuff that goes on MTV, other than music, television. What they're actually.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I checked out on MTV when they first that first season of what was that show called where he smacked homegirl? Smacked the crap out of that girl.
Are you talking about The Real World? Yeah,
The Real World. Once that started, because I was never a fan of reality TV. I could never get on board with it.
Yeah.
Like, this is stupid.
Me neither. I mean, there's a couple of competition shows that I thought was kind of funny. I may have watched a few.
Oh yeah, I did love watching the one that came on ABC. That one, not Laugh Olympics. What is that thing called? The one with they got the big stuff to turn. They basically bit it off of a Japanese thing. But it's basically like a big golf course.
Like the Ninja Warrior thing?
No, it's not Ninja Warriors. That's dope too. Ninja Warriors is dope too.
My favorite show used to be American Gladiator. That used to be my show, boy.
Now the only reality show that I liked, because I said I wanted to get on, was The Amazing Race. That one I liked.
That was dope. That was
Race, and then they had there was the other one too. I forgot the name of it. They had a couple of those covers. Now that was more competition shows. The only reality shows that I've ever laid my eyes on, and maybe more than one time, was probably the Flavor of Love when Flavor, because I was just laughing at Flavor. I was amazed that all these women were lined up for Flavor Flav. That cracked me up. And then I didn't watch the whole show. I just watched a couple of weeks of it just to see what it was about. And then the Ray J show, what was it called? For the Love of Ray J. That one I did watch. I probably watched that one the most, like the longest. I may have watched like 3 or 4 weeks of that one. And I started, because we was doing block TVs, I started meeting a lot of people from that show. And that's why I started watching it. Like I'm more so watch, I watch a show if it's somebody I know that's on it, or somebody that I met that's on it. I'll check it out, even if I never intended on checking it out. So that's what I did with For the Love of Ray J.
No, never. No. And I know someone that was on it. Someone.
Right. We met. How many people I met from that show? Well, Bethany Benz, who we met her way back then. The girl, the character, whatever her name was Feisty. The one who played, her name was Feisty. That's a young lady from Elizabeth from Miami. She was cool. We hung out with her. That girl is she is fun to hang out with. She party like she really did. At least back then, she was a partier, man. That girl was crazy. But then it was like 3 more that we met from there. But anyway,
I met 2. I know Bethany and I know Gianna Stilks. That's it.
Stilts, yeah. So I didn't meet Stilts, but we met. It was a few of them, but yeah, it was, and that's probably what kept me watching it as far as I did. And that was it. And by the time the second season came, I didn't watch it. And I might have watched maybe 2 or 3 episodes of the one with Bret Michaels.
Rock of Love.
Rock of Love, yeah.
I'll admit, I looked at a couple of episodes of The Apprentice because I liked Holly Robinson, right? And I was just talking about the last night, like when they were on there, Bret Michaels on there. They did the episode, which I thought was the best episode, where they did the when they created their own versions of Snapple.
Mm-hmm.
That would, in one episode they were. I used to have a friend of mine that worked at Davidoff's in New York, and The Apprentice was across the street filming an episode at this pizzeria that was directly across the street from Davidoff's on like 53rd Street somewhere. No, it was 50. Yeah, 53rd
so that was
Street.
The Celebrity Apprentice.
Yeah.
Because I dealt with a dude. I met this dude. A funny story. I actually shot at Sean Davis studio over in Real. What was it called? Real Time. Yeah, Real Time Studios in Freeport. I didn't shoot it there, but I was editing.
Shout out?
Yeah,
bleep that out.
And I was in Freeport. I was editing there. There was a gentleman that I met who actually was trying to get on The Apprentice. He had made it to like the final round. Like you gotta go through a whole preliminary thing before you can even get on the show. And when you get to it, you go through like a couple rounds, just like most of these competition shows. So he did his final video. And I was funny. I never watched the show, so I don't know if he ever made it on it, but I kind of thought he should have made it on it because he was talking about, hey, Mr. Trump, blah, blah, blah. I'm this, this is why I should be your next apprentice on the show. I'm very meticulous. I'm very this, that. He showed all these different things that he was doing, and I was editing it together for him. But one thing he did, he was like, he's like, I'm an inventor. He's like, I have my own line of, I think he said, children's, what was it, like children's medicine products or something like that, that he took part in inventing. And then he said, but he invented something called the cocktail caddy, which I thought was a very interesting invention. It's basically a thing where it's like this thing that he's like, when you're at cocktail parties, and anybody who's been to cocktail parties will understand what he's talking about. You're standing around and you got a darn plate in your hand. You have nowhere to put it. You got a drink and you got a plate. So now you have no free hand. You can't shake hands with people. You can't network. So he invented a thing that clips onto the plate where you can put your drink in there and it holds your drink. It clips on, so now you have a free hand, so you can shake hands, whatever it is you want to do.
And that's probably what kept him off The Apprentice.
Well, I mean, that was a good invention, though.
No.
He probably in Shark Tank.
But here's what you're not going to do. You're not going to upstage Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And by coming on saying that you're an inventor, and by saying that you're smart and you know how to do things, and that you have a proven track record, you have physical evidence of your brilliance.
Yeah.
You ain't make it. That was a dump. I guarantee you there was some what was that term you used for me earlier? We were talking, Wes. Assistant. There was some assistant who probably looked at his video and probably was like, great video, but this is a no. Because this is the last thing. It's the last thing you need on this show is more intelligence that we. And he was black too.
No, he wasn't black. He was a white guy.
He was a white guy.
Yeah, he's a white guy.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Even worse.
Because
you can't upstage Mr. Trump.
Mr. Trump, yeah, but it was. I thought he should have got an opportunity. I was like, yo, that's a dope invention. I said, because it makes sense. Even doing block TV, we've been to a lot of cocktail parties. And we in there. I got a camera on my shoulder. This, that, I ain't got nowhere to put that in. I can't put it. Then I get caught eating. And then they want to film something. I got to put my drink down and run over here and film it. Yeah, I'm like, yo, the cocktail caddy was a dope. That was a dope invention idea.
A dope idea. And unfortunately, here's what you're not going to do. Because here's what happens. You have a dope invention, right? Now, here's what happens. When you come onto The Apprentice, I never watched the show, but I believe that they would have to kind of sort of talk about your background and what what makes you good at being on this show. That dude checks all the boxes of what if Holly Robinson could be on that show, which she's probably only on there for her celebrity.
Yeah, they had a whole Celebrity Apprentice.
Yeah,
remember, The Apprentice first started. They were not celebrities. It was just people, other people.
Oh, business people. Yeah. So definitely. So definitely, and that's probably why they moved to celebrities and stopped dealing with ordinary people. Because Trump was probably like, "There's too many damn people out here who are smarter than me."
Yeah, if
that's
nothing
where
else,
Omarosa comes from. That's where Omarosa comes from.
That's where Omarosa comes from the original Apprentice show. Where she wasn't known before that, and if nothing else, they probably went away from it because Trump probably saying, I'm not gonna keep making people stars, and I ain't getting a piece of their unless I'm getting a piece of their career.
And that's my point with Homeboy. Homeboy would have got on there and they would have announced what it was. They were like, "Oh, you invented what?" now who's the next people you got looking at him?
Yeah.
Oh well, maybe Shark Tank wasn't around back then.
No, it wasn't around back then. But exactly. But that was cool. I thought that was a cool little thing. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. I was kind of pulling for him because he also, he like I say, invented a which was weird. I don't know if he partly invented it. He told me, or he invented a line of children. It was called Little Noses, Little Tummies. It was It was a like a little children's, you know. I guess
This guy
it
sounds like he was super
medicine.
smart. He had it going on.
I'll tell you what. I can tell you what he did with that. He came to the hood. He was like, "Yo, what y'all do to get these kids right? Oh, a little Tussin and a little Vicks. Okay, let's put it in the same bottle."
Yeah, right. Little noses, little tummies. That's what he had. His
and what does Vicks and what is it? Vicks. And the other thing, Pepto Bismol. So he probably put all three in one bottle.
Damn, trying to kill people? Trying to kill people? Damn.
You call that lean? No, I'm joking. Nah, but
you call that syrup?
Scissor. So anyway, that's pretty much that, man. You know, to wrap up the writers' strike. You know, it's just gonna go on for a little while till they get whatever it is they're looking for, or they come to an agreement. I should say. It's not gonna say they're not gonna get everything they're looking for, but they come to an agreement. They'll be okay.
What is the right? What are they striking for? Just so that people know.
Money.
It's always money.
It all comes down to the money, like they said, right? Like the song says, it all comes down to the money.
I got well, she's not a friend of mine. She's someone I actually met at the Urban World Film Festival one year. Her name is Kyra Jones, Dr. Kyra Jones, but she posted a picture on her Twitter and Instagram. I thought it was funny. And she says, "My ass shouldn't be fatter than my paycheck." I was like, wow.
Nice.
Wow.
My ass shouldn't be fatter than my paycheck. Okay.
My ass shouldn't be fatter than my paycheck. That might need to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
That might have to be on a t-shirt.
It may have to.
Well, unfortunately, depending on who your parents were, unfortunately, that's just genetics. Unless you went and got a BBL.
Yeah, right. Well, she ain't gonna have to get BBL. She ain't getting the money.
Nah, she didn't
Well,
have
guess what?
BBL.
Guess what? And that's why and my point of saying that is that's why your ass shouldn't be bigger than your paycheck. Because if you can't listen, if you got 30,000 to 40,000 to blow on a BBL, that's a down payment on a house. Make some better investments, sound investments with your money. And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, too bad her show actually that she wrote for, it got canceled last year. She wrote for Queen. That's who she did for, and got canceled last year. It was too bad. It was a pretty good show. I liked it.
What show did she write for?
Queen. What was it? Queens, the one with Queens with Natari and all them. And Brandy and all them, where they were like the four retired rappers that got back together. Eve, she wrote for that show.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, that only went for one season or maybe two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also saw that the Black Girl
wait.
sketch show also is not making any shit.
Yeah, Robin Thede. I know Robin Thede is out there in line.
That sucks because that show is actually funny. But Rob,
it really is.
On the side note, Fatal Attraction is good, bro.
Oh Lord, no.
I watched the 3 episodes that they have available. The 4th episode is probably available tonight. But it's pretty good, and the actors that they have in it are dope actors too.
Joshua Jackson, yeah.
Joshua Jackson, and of course,
I loved him. I loved him all the way back from his French days.
Yeah,
that's not the guy from Friends.
I love the chick.
That's the guy from Dawson's Creek. That's the guy from Dawson's Creek. The one that stole Casey from Dawson.
The lead actor on Fatal Attraction, he was in Fringe.
I don't know about Friends. I know that's Joshua Jackson.
He was in Fringe with the
you said Fringe?
Fringe.
You said Fringe. Yeah.
Oh yes, Fringe.
He thought you said Friends.
I thought you said Friends.
The sitcom.
Oh no, Fringe. Fringe.
Oh. Yeah. No, that's homeboy from Dawson's Creek. That stole Pacey. That stole the what's the name from Dawson? You know.
Joey
from Dawson.
Well, he grew up to be a Fringe.
Well, I remember him. I remember him most recently from that show I used to love to watch on Showtime, The Affair. He was in that most recently, and he was in Fringe. Yeah, he was.
He was one of the investigators in Fringe.
Yeah, he's been doing
I
stuff.
thought
he
you
broke.
said
He kind of got broke on Dawson's Creek. That kind of like broke his face, so to speak, on Dawson's Creek. But yeah, The Affair. I loved him in The Affair. You know, he was also in When They See Us. He was in a couple of. But The Affair was.
He's in Scream 2. He's in Scream 2.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that.
Oh yeah, he was in Scream. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. I like him.
Yeah, no, he's.
But let's what about Priyanka Chopra though? Oh, sorry, I just wanted to.
Oh,
my bad.
That's all women.
I just get it's like a tick.
Women.
Why even talk? There's nothing else to talk about tonight. We should end the night on that.
It's like a tick. Did you get a chance to see the show yet, Ralph? Did you get a chance to check?
With Fatal Attraction?
No,
I'm not going to watch it.
No, not Fatal Attraction. No,
the Citadel.
The Citadel. Yeah.
No, I haven't got a chance to watch it yet.
New show by the Russo brothers.
By the Russo brothers.
Yeah.
I heard all about it this morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know Stanley Tucci is on there.
Yes.
And he was. Yes. They had
Stanley
him on
Tucci
last week talking about
doing his thing. Priyanka Chopra.
Ralph, I sent you a text 2 weeks before the show came out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not see my text, or you just blocked my text? I think Ralph don't like me outside the show.
I was gone. I was gone. I was in Chicago for like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, speaking of which, I got an email from Exotica Events. You doing that cruise, brother? That they doing?
You know what? Actually, why I keep putting my camera off, because there's a girl talking to me, asking me if I'm going to do that cruise, and I'm really thinking about doing it because I've never been on a cruise before.
Oh, okay. So
I've never been. So
that's gonna probably be lit.
But you know something? See, I had thought that it was going to be part of the Exotica, like the Exotica thing. It's not. Yeah, it's separate. Right.
Yeah, it's not going to next year, like in March.
Next March,
2024.
Right. And I'm really,
which is the perfect time to go is March, because if you're going to be going to the Caribbean, to the Bahamas, anything like that, that's the perfect time to go.
You want to go before hurricane.
You want to stay away from hurricane season. It's cheaper to go during hurricane season for obvious reasons, but no, it's not worth that chance.
It's a dice. Boy, it is a dice roll. Listen.
That sounds like from experience. Like,
no, about this time. Listen, the only thing I'll say is like this: our family vacations were tuned around hurricane season. We didn't fly. We didn't go nowhere. Mm-hmm. When hurricane season started, it was like you land, and we getting you back here before hurricane season starts in New York. And we always took the bus back home. We never flew back home at the tail end of the summer, because down south starts school earlier than we do
in August.
So we would always come back. We would always come back home about 3 weeks earlier, but we always had to come back home by bus. And it wasn't because my parents was cheap. They was like, we not having our kids stuck out there because flight patterns didn't change or something crazy didn't happen during hurricane season. Get on the bus.
I mean, it's but the Citadel is a great show, man. The Russo brothers doing their thing. I mean, it's like, I remember one of my nieces was like, I will watch that because I love Priyanka Chopra in Quantico. I said, this show is Quantico on steroids, bro.
Yeah, this show is what Quantico should have been.
Should have been, but
this is the sequel.
This is what it should have been. This is the reboot, actually. It's what it should have been.
And maybe, you know what? Maybe this is where she evolved into from Quantico. Maybe. I'm not saying. I don't know. Maybe that's why the Russo brothers picked her.
Maybe that's why. I mean, I know they definitely picked her because she did good in Quantico. I just didn't like where Quantico went by this last season.
Yeah, it just went totally left when it didn't need to. It was fine the way it was.
The story just did like stuff blowing up and just like extreme. It went too far.
And then she left the FBI. She went from the FBI to the CIA.
Yeah.
By the last season.
Yeah, and it just don't work like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you don't it's not like branches and you just graduate into and you become a CIA agent just because you was
and most CIA operatives are picked from the military. They're not picked from FBI.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless you're a senior.
You know why? Because you've been taught something completely different in the FBI.
Yeah.
And everything you was taught in the FBI, you might as well just forget it. Throw it out the window.
Because everything in the FBI is domestic. CIA is
international.
It's international, and they're not even supposed to operate on even though they do, and they've been doing it for decades. They've been doing it since the days of Hoover, because they were in. Anyway, that was a whole nother thing. But I like what they did with her, and I like the fact that I'm not even gonna spoil the movie, but the show. But I like what they did.
Yeah, I like what
the group
they did.
The group that they put her in.
Everything, and it's really, really, really well so far. Very well written. The action is awesome.
Listen, it's the Russo brothers. So you know, even you know what? I'm gonna keep it a buck. You can give the Russo brothers the most poorly written script, and they will turn out a dope movie every time because they understand movie written. And this is what I wanted to say earlier about.
You sure about that? Are you sure about that?
I'm positive about that, Ralph. And here's why. Because this is the point I wanted to bring up earlier when we were talking about the comic book fatigue. The thing about the Russo brothers is that puts them a step apart from everybody else, with the exception of Jon Favreau, is the fact that they were comic book heads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Right.
When it comes down to that. And the fact that they understand, they know how to work in tandem, and they understand how action is supposed to be done. They took Captain America. Who would know? Nobody would know what to do with Captain America. It would take a team like the Russo brothers. Yeah, that's what
Ryan. What was it? Ryan Johnson who did the first.
Ryan Johnson did the first one.
Right.
Now imagine how much more better.
He did it. He kind of did okay. He did it kind of like.
No, he did okay, but what they gave him. I mean, the over the top Nazism.
Right, but that was the times that Captain America was, he did it like the comic,
Yeah,
But when it was time to bring him into the modern time, and the Russos really did their thing. And the bottom line is, Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a spy film. Like if it did, you could take away the superhero part of it. It's a spy.
Take away Captain America. Take away Nick Fury. Change all the characters. Black Widow. Change all the characters.
It's still a good movie. If you change the characters out, it's still a good movie because it's a spy film. If you replace Captain America with James Bond, it's still a spy film. It's still a good film. So
just another James Bond film on American soil.
Or any of these guys, or any of these, Jack Reacher, or any of these, guys,
No. We ain't doing that. No, we're not doing that. Listen, I don't think I'd be able to take the Russo brothers doing a Jack Reacher. That film would be extremely violent if the Russo brothers did a Jack Reacher film. I know. The public is not ready for that.
But I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, and to kind of piggyback on what Cap said, because when you think about it, bro, 21 Bridges was a very basic script. A very basic script, and they did a really good job with that movie for what it was. That was a basic script. It was, to me, it was very predictable, that script. I was predicted almost everything that happened in that script. I still enjoyed the movie. It's just the way they know how to do things. Of course, tack on Chadwick's acting and the actors that was in there with him. But at its core, that film was a very basic script that they took and made a really, really good film.
And here's what they did. They took it and they locked it down, to one low. Well, even though it was shot on multiple areas in Manhattan. They locked it down to the borough of Manhattan.
That's why you take that's one of those scripts that that you take and knock out real quick. You know what I mean? They probably okay, let's knock this one out. Whoever wrote it, but yeah, I think that was a very basic. Like that's probably one of the most basic scripts that they dealt with because they usually throw in the hard stuff. I mean, they're like, yo, think about what they had to do in the MCU. All right, you took Captain America and completely changed.
The wrong term, I think you used the wrong term is basic. I think the more term is regular.
Well, I just went basic. It was just like it had to, from beginning to end, it had like the same type of cliche stuff going on in it, and I was just like, to me, it was very predictable, but that didn't bother me. Like I still enjoyed it, so I was just like, all right, cool. But but they were usually throwing the hard stuff. I mean, Civil War. Okay, take all of these characters and put them in the same movie together. Civil War was probably that your word, Ralph. The litmus test. That was probably their litmus test of getting Endgame and Infinity War.
Listen, I think I think Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Captain America and the Winter Soldier solidified them getting Civil War because Civil War was probably on the table and probably just didn't have a director. And when they banged that out, they was like, oh, so okay, you can do that, okay.
And once again, Civil War was tough because it was wasn't the exact same script. They couldn't do the same script from the comics because they didn't own Fox yet, and there was a lot of things involved in that involved the characters that Fox owned, X-Men and so forth. But what they could do, in perfect segue, what they could do is and this is the curveball they threw them. Here's Black Panther. Right. Yeah,
we're going to
introduce the world to Black Panther. You know what I mean? That was awesome. And they did him so well. They did him so much justice for his introduction. It was perfect. It had people. I mean, you could fairly say Civil War is really what got everybody so pumped up to go out and see Black Panther because they was able to see what he was right in Civil War. And
not only see what he was, but see Io, my girl Florence. He walked up to Black Widow and said, "Move or be moved."
Yeah, that was good.
Oh my God, that line alone had everybody looking at the screen like, "Okay, what you gonna do?" Because now you got a real sister up in your face.
Right, the fact that you saw that what he did in that film, and I'm telling you right now, that's why. Not only did it get, black people were probably gonna go see it anyway, but it really got black people pumped up to go see it, but it got all of the comic fans really pumped up to go see it. That's why, Black Panther, yes, I know I'm not taking away from our black people. We showed up and showed out and we did a lot, we put out there, but let's not make no mistake. There was a lot of mixed people in that crowd. There was a lot of white people going to see Black Panther, a lot of comic book fans, and a lot of them are white. Go see Black Panther because they just wanted to see it because his character was so done so well in Civil War.
We're not even gonna put race on it. A lot of the people that were out to see that were our age.
Yeah,
the majority.
That's true. I go with that one. There was a lot of people because they just said we've never seen this before. And
that were our age, and then a lot of us because this was a cinematic event, both Civil War and Black Panther. I know I did when I went to go see it. I had my kids into it. I had my daughter into and then when Black Panther came out, I had my grandson and my daughter.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely. It was just crazy, man. But when I saw him on screen for the first time in Civil War, it just really, really.
And they had him done right.
Good.
They didn't he didn't look campy. His suit didn't look garbage.
No, suit was done dope. And they
and
had
his
the
claws
perfect
work.
Yeah, they had the perfect balance. You saw him. You saw Chadwick doing some of the stunts. You saw you had that perfect balance. It was great. It was perfect. Not to get touch up, but like I said, this is the type of stuff that, although myself, people like us, we can go ahead and move forward and look into nice new things. But there's a lot of people that just don't want to let go of this stuff. That's why,
for the reasons
for those reasons that we just talked about. It was perfectly done, you know, and it was perfectly presented to us and all of the world. And they're just like, they want that old thing back. You know what I mean?
And I got a feeling. If Kevin Feige is smart, he's gonna let the Russos go ahead and sow their oats wherever they gotta sow them, get whatever they gotta get out of their system.
Yeah.
And then I got a feeling they're gonna be back for Secret Wars. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You can't. There is nobody else who would be able to do it. And hopefully, he will
You
allow
sure about
them. I'm positive. I'm positive about not Secret Wars. Ralph, you'd have to go back and read both Secret Wars, the one from the 80s and the one from the 90s.
Not that. When you sit there and say there's no one else do it, because I mean, no disrespect to
Listen,
any of you guys' opinion.
You can probably get my daughter to go and do it if you pay her enough money. Doesn't mean it's gonna be good.
Right.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because a filmmaker is a filmmaker. If you put a filmmaker in there,
you're wrong there. You're 100%.
So let me ask a very legitimate question.
If a filmmaker was a filmmaker, then there would never be any bad movies. Everything would be good.
Hold it. So if you had a filmmaker that made a comedy, are they capable of making Civil War? I mean, Secret War?
Capable, yeah, but that doesn't mean they're gonna do it good.
Well, I mean, let's
and again, Ralph,
good?
And again, Ralph, it's already been. See, you walking down the street, we don't even need to walk down. Because yes, you are.
I'm asking a very legitimate question.
Because we just had a comedic act. We just had a comedic director do 2 Thor movies. The second of which was panned by everybody.
Well, Tiki Watanabe is not a comedic director, because I mean he's drama /
Yes, he is. Have you saw all of his movies? Have you saw all of?
I only saw that Jojo Rabbit thing. That was kind of quirky.
And that was kind of, and that was there was a lot more dark humor.
But my question is, when I said the film, I said could a director that made a comedy, could they legitimately step up and do
a
Secret
good
War?
A movie like that?
I'll put it like this: they could not do it without being a comedy. You have to be a comedy. I'm sorry, you have to understand the dynamics and the different shit. Especially now that Disney owns all of Marvel. And
I mean, if you're going to talk about a comedic director, you talk about comedy is subjective, number one. But if you really talk about somebody who does it's like, for instance, like there's been some like the not the Duffers, what's the dudes that did like Something About Mary? They have done some stuff that's serious too. You know what I'm saying? Like they mostly was comedic directors, but they've done stuff. The Farrelly brothers or whatever.
The Farrelly brothers.
Yeah, Farrelly brothers. Yeah. They've done stuff that's, serious. Not that they're not capable of doing it. And like I said, but I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm not going to say that nobody is not capable of them to doing it, but it's not likely. So they probably won't get the job because I don't think they're going to hire.
Ralph, if I had to trust it, if it was up to me, there's only one other person, maybe 2, that could do it. And it would have to be a team. It would have to be the one person would be either Zack Snyder, who again is a comic book fan,
director though,
he's not a comedic director. I don't care about that. But he is a good director and he understands the material. Or I could see Ben Affleck and Matt Damon doing it and putting it together.
You see,
why? Here's why, Ralph. Here's why. The point is, Ralph, you have to have people who are going to come in. You're going to give them the source material, and they're going to respect the source material. And then they're going to take the source material and give the audience they're going to give the audience the perfect balance of what they need visually to be able to be able to digest the movie as somebody who doesn't understand anything about any of this stuff. Which at this point, where Marvel is right now, and that's the other thing about this supposed superhero fatigue. It's not fatigue. What it is laziness. Because now Marvel, you know what Marvel said for Phase 4? Guess what? We're not holding your hand anymore. From now on, if you pick up a book, you want to understand some of this stuff.
Or they don't even have to pick up a book. They're making it so you don't have to pick up a book. They're putting it in the series. Like stuff that certain context that you might need. They're not going to make you pick up a book. They're going to say, watch the series, and they make you watch the series. And they're
go back and watch the movie. Go back. You don't understand.
If you want to watch the movie and be confused, that's on you. But if you want to know what's going on, then pay attention to what's going on and watch the series. And between that, it sets up the show. It sets you up for the movie. It gives you something to watch until the movie comes out. Sets you up for the movie, and then you're good. But with that being said, like I was looking at Peter Farrelly. Like I said, he did Green Book and won an award for it, right? But he Farrelly brothers, they freaking something about Mary and
but even the Green Book
had myself and Irene, But I'm saying, but they went from straight comedy to the Green Book.
But even the Green Book had it had its hilarious moments.
It had its funny moments, but I wouldn't consider that anything like something about Mary.
No, it's not. But here's the thing: they respect. What is the movie about? The Green Book. And anybody who doesn't know what a Green Book is a book that was made for Black people by Black people to get Black people safely through Southern states and also some Northern states.
Right. So I mean that by trade is a drama.
I'm about to let me finish giving the context though. My context to that is the reason why that movie was so good is because they respected the material that it came from, and that's my point. My point, Ralph, is that I don't care who you get to do. If they don't respect the source material, they're not going to be able to fully visually realize what that movie is supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It doesn't mean that they're not capable.
I can go with that.
Yeah, doesn't mean they're not capable because they may have had a comedic background. Because that's why I'm using this as an example. Green Book, yes, it is like had comedy in it, but this is a movie.
But it was also very serious
tone movie. It was almost biography. Yeah, it was
it was a
biographical and drama. So that's a big switch from Jim Carrey, sucking on a girl's boobs, while the kid is breastfeeding. You know what I'm saying? That's a big switch. So, stuff like that.
I understand, but when you guys say that no one is capable, that's why I asked that question, because not for nothing, the two people that you're praising, they come from a comedic background, and they did Civil War. So that's what I'm saying. When you said the only person, I mean, I think when you
put context to it, though, Ralph, he's saying as long as they, just like even with this guy, he just proved an example of this guy respecting the source material.
That was not the question.
Oh no, Ralph! No, Ralph! No! It was because they sat down. The guy that was the musician. They sat down. They literally had to get the family's permission to do this movie, and they sat down with they understood what they were getting. They made sure they had every I crossed and every T dotted. Now, granted, sometimes when you're writing, you have to elaborate for context, to keep a story flowing and make things interesting. But for the most part, every beat of that film was how that relationship was between that white guy being his driver and that black guy being the musician.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you guys are praising the Russo brothers, and I said that's why I asked the question, because the Russo brothers come from a comedic background and then went into Civil War. That's what. So when you
I understand that, but what are they at their core, Ralph? They're comic book fans. I don't care that they're. I don't care.
But once again, that was not the question that I asked.
But Ralph,
when you said
the question that you asked, Ralph, it was basically a sucker question because you didn't put context to your question. Because it's not, and I answered it right at the beginning. I said yes, they're capable of it. No one said that you're capable.
Ralph, here's the bottom line, Ralph. Yes, they're capable of it, but again, as I said, and as Wes pointed out, what I said is that my context is that the Russo brothers are comic book fans first. Yeah, they may have been. They might have their first film might have been.
Wait. Excuse me 1 second. Let me ask, and I want to ask this real legitimate question. You said the Russo brothers are comic book fans first, right? Does every director that's walking around, right, do they have to make it known that they are a comic book fan?
Ralph, they don't have to make it. Ralph, here's the thing, Ralph. You don't have to make anything known to me.
You don't even have to
but
be
the fact that you respect the source material will show in your work.
But once again, that could be any director. Any director.
Yeah, it can be. And it can be. Look what Shane Black did. Shane Black is an awesome writer and a good director. And look at that trash he did for Iron Man 3. Only the third act of that movie was good. Everything else about that movie was trash.
Okay, right. So you give me Shane Black. I'll give you Nicholas Meyer, who never watched the episode of Star Trek before, but when he got hired to do Star Trek 2, he went back and watched all episode 2. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Star Trek 2 considered the best?
Ralph, you just proved my point. What did he do?
Respected the source material.
Respect source material. But once again, that is not the question I asked. When you guys saying, well, there's only this person can do this, this person can do that.
Ralph, that is a whole part of the question. That is a whole part of the answer to the question. You can't ask a question and then be selective about the answer that you get.
Well, my whole problem with what you said, Ralph, is saying a filmmaker is a filmmaker, and that's not necessarily true.
It's not true.
It's not necessarily true. Because there are some filmmakers that are great filmmakers. Oh, we lost Ralph. He dropped out.
That's because the internet know what's going on.
There's some filmmakers that are great filmmakers. Doesn't mean they're going to be they could do any film great. That's just not going to happen all the time. Sometimes they just, it won't. You got plenty
Patty
of
Jenkins.
Yeah.
Ralph, I guess
Ralph dropped out. He's still out. Yeah.
Oh, well, hopefully you're still listening. Hopefully he'll have the screen running on and be listening from the screen.
He's back.
But Ralph, if you back, Ralph?
I'm back.
Yeah, he's back.
I'm so sick of this.
All right, Ralph. Perfect example. Patty Jenkins. Patty Jenkins.
This doesn't make any goddamn sense.
But Ralph, perfect example. Patty Jenkins. Patty Jenkins for Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie, she had Zack Snyder's whole team and Zack Snyder holding her down when she did that movie.
Okay.
You know what she did? You know what she did for Wonder Woman 1984? She booted all of them. Why? Because she was on board with the shenanigans that was going on with the higher ups and them not liking Zack Snyder.
And thus her true ability to handle a superhero film.
With that, the only reason I'm going to give Patty Jenkins a mulligan, so to speak, is that maybe it came down with, well, it's either you're going to do it or where you get off the project. And she didn't.
No, but she wrote that.
Film. She wrote that back.
Of course. I know the part she wrote, but what I'm saying is she probably would have wrote it and had Snyder come in and go through it and change a little bit.
No,
but
she didn't want to have nothing to do with Zack Snyder, Ralph.
You don't know that. I don't know
Ralph,
that.
She said it out.
If she said it, I never saw it. If she said it,
she booted the whole team.
Wait, Kevin, stop. If she said that, I never saw that. So I gotta take your word saying that she booted him. Okay. But maybe that came from the higher ups to boot him. Maybe that wasn't her call. Maybe that came from the higher ups.
Well, regardless, she answered somebody else. Here's what I know, Ralph. As a director, it doesn't matter what the studio wants. When you want something, You fight for your team. If you assess specifically, but I'm sorry, you're right. I forgot. It's Warner Brothers. So I digress.
There you go.
I digress.
So
well, I mean, I mean, I do agree with you, Kev, about fighting for what you want. I mean, if that would have never happened, we never would have got The Godfather. If Coppola wouldn't have fought for it, we never would have got Al Pacino in The Godfather. We never would have got Marlon Brando in The Godfather. We never would have got The Godfather, period, if he didn't fight.
And with that, we probably would have never got Star Wars, because didn't some of that money from that stuff help pay for Star Wars?
A lot of that money from when he
But what I'm saying is, if Warner Bros. Put down the ultimate manufacturing and say, "Hey, listen, you could either Chuck Snyder's team, or we could either remove you from the project, or put Wonder Woman 2 into turnaround."
Here's what nobody has done, Ralph.
I could give you that one, Ralph, but I don't. To me, it still doesn't. It doesn't excuse the fact that she wrote a crappy movie.
Yeah,
that alone, and maybe okay. So let's just say she booted Snyder's team because they told her to. So basically, Snyder wasn't there to fix her mess, basically. But then that still doesn't excuse her for writing a crappy movie.
But
how still show no? But the point
there are
is,
a bunch of people that have written crappy movies, and it has.
But here's the point, Ralph. But not if you have the blueprint, Ralph.
No, but what I'm saying is her true ability, right? She's a filmmaker. You just said a filmmaker's a filmmaker. Her true ability to handle a superhero film showed in the second Wonder Woman, the one that she wrote, and did all of that.
And the third act of the first movie was her idea too, which was garbage.
So her true ability, even though she's a filmmaker and a pretty good one, but her true ability without the support system showed that she really can't make a superhero.
And it boils down to, Ralph, when you don't respect the source material. It's just, Ralph, I hate to put it as simple as this, but it's simple. It is as simple right now as this whole CRT debate. CRT. Hold on. Wait, let me finish, Ralph. CRT is something, and you'll get the point that I'm making. The CRT is something that is taught specifically in college and in law colleges. It's not even taught in regular colleges. It's taught in law. It's taught in law college. All right. Number two, the thing that they're making CRT out to be is not CRT. It's actually the erasure of who we are as a people and our contributions to this country. So when you send your child to school now, depending on where you live, your child is not learning unless you're a learned parent at home. You have to correct your teacher's mistakes when your child comes home from school. Why? Because they don't respect the source material of our history.
Okay. Well, I guess like I said many times, I am not familiar with comic fans. Is it? So I have to rely on you two for that one. Is anything in Wonder Woman 84 part actually, was there a source material for it? I'm going to probably assume the answer to that question is yes, that there originally was some sort of source material that was already done
for a lot of stuff, and that's mostly from characters and stuff like that. But the story she wrote wasn't nothing from no source material. She wrote, I don't know what the hell she was talking about.
Whenever have you heard of Diana Prince raping a man? Listen, it's funny, but I'm keeping it a buck. If a male director, if Zack Snyder or somebody would have did that, guess what?
Crazy. They'd have went.
They would have.
I'm saying this because until last week, when you guys told me about the whole thing, when we was talking about how Vader, when I said Vader should be number villain, you said the Joker. Well, he did it. There was a storyline where he went and he tricked Superman into thinking. I never knew that. I never knew that. So if I would have saw it on the screen, I said, hold up. I would ask you, was that source material like that? So how the hell do I know that there isn't a?
No, we're not saying you're expecting to know. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. So I'm answering your question. What the story she wrote was nothing. There was no source material. Or only thing you can reference back to source material is some of the characters that was in it, which is
and
fine.
her references of the 80s.
Right.
Which I don't know. It's like some twisted dark fantasy. Lord, forgive me. I just quoted Kanye West. It's like some twisted dark fantasy she had of Wonder Woman living in the 80s, and like she had a dream and wrote this story that was just like
But my only point that I want to say by that, she's a perfect example. She went from a really good movie that she had a lot of help on,
and that
support
proved
system, and then she went to where she had full control over it, and the movie was a hot garbage. You know what I'm saying? So there's your proof right there. A filmmaker just ain't another filmmaker, because she is a filmmaker, and she dropped the ball really bad. It was terrible. She's a pretty good filmmaker, right? So she just nah.
No, she is a good.
That wasn't it.
Ralph, I'm gonna keep it to you like this, and you've watched enough movies to know what I'm about to say is true. As a filmmaker, yes, you should explore your lanes and you should reach out beyond your boundaries. But I think most filmmakers know what their limitations are, and they know that there's some subject matter that they're just not going to touch. They're like, you know what, that ain't my lane.
Well, I don't know.
Some are like that.
No, some are. Some are more adventurous and are willing to step out.
If you want to talk about some filmmakers, let's take some filmmakers that's never directed a superhero film before that I could tell you, or that I would think could definitely handle doing a superhero film, just because of the fact that they're just because of the type of filmmaker they are. You know, someone like Kevin Smith. Because Kevin Smith definitely, because he's a comic book guy. He's written comics.
He's done episodes of Supergirl.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, he's done episodes of Supergirl. So he don't really count, because he's done some stuff. But yes, he would be. But he's another one. He's one dude that's honest to himself. He would not take on.
And the sad part is he's more than capable of doing it if he would stop being scared. And I think that's Kevin Smith's problem.
His thing, I understand how you feel, because I'm like that when it comes to vampire films. The reason it took so long for me to write the vampire film that I've written already is because I love it. I love vampire films and the genre so much. I don't want to be that one that does it and it's not that good. It doesn't live up to.
But here's the reason why. Here's the reason why it would not be that good. Because of your respect from the source material going back from the beginning.
Well, yeah, of course, exactly. So, and that's another thing I wanted to say to you, Ralph. It's not just a comic thing. Same thing. Why was Francis Ford Coppola's version of Dracula one of the best, if not the best? Because he respected the source material. He read the Bram Stoker's Dracula. The whole cast had to read Bram Stoker's Dracula. They read it together.
The whole cast.
Before they even got into the script, they sat around the table and read it. Yeah, they all read it. Yeah. So source material. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't have to be a comic book. I mean, why do you think people get so mad? Look how mad you were. Look how disappointed, I should say. I don't say mad. Look how disappointed you was in 50 Shades of Grey, right? Because they didn't respect the source material. They didn't.
No.
Deeper with it.
No. That is not why I didn't listen to people, because it is not accurate at all.
But that's respect to the source material.
No. Listen, I said, the book itself is not truly accurate to that lifestyle. The book, if they would have went by the book, it still would have sucked.
Wow. Then we'll take that off the table. You're talking about
because now you take it.
I'm talking about real life. I'm talking about like real life.
But the point is how so many people look at the books of things and get disappointed because the movie didn't do, it went so different from the book. So you hear that all the time.
Stephen King does not like Kubrick.
He don't
Shining.
like none. He didn't like none. He didn't like none of them really. He didn't really like none
No.
of the movies that was done of his, because they
He liked
differed
it.
so much from the book. Yeah, he liked it.
He did.
He did like
liked
it because it's stuck close.
Can
And
we
like I
not
said,
talk about it? Can we not
well,
talk about it?
I'm gonna say, no, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not even a big reader. I say it all the time. I don't even like reading, but you know, two of the two big novels that I've ever read were big, and that was it and Bram Stoker's Dracula, both huge novels.
Yeah.
And you know, it for what they had to do, they could have made that a 3-part movie because they still left out
there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that they still left out, and that's
a lot of stuff that they left out. Now, you know, especially in the times that we living in, and they're not gonna do the child gang bang. That's just not happening. That scene is not gonna happen in a movie. We already know that. You know, and I'm you know, of course, this is what it is. I know how they explained it and what it's supposed to be, but the bottom line is they left out a lot, but they also put in a lot. So, and it was dark, you know. Not the reason why dark. I think King liked it because he probably just didn't like the fact that it was the television version, because there's only so much you could do on television. So with it being at that time, so that's probably why he didn't really like the television version. You know, it has some good actors and stuff like that in it, but you know, he probably just didn't like it because it just wasn't. I'm sure he looked at it and was like, "This shit ain't scary."
See how he didn't like Salem's Lot.
He's never. I don't think I've ever heard him say anything about Salem's Lot.
I don't think he's ever commented on it, but that was also a TV movie, Salem's Lot.
But
that
he's been very
Yeah.
vocal. He was very vocal about, always vocal about The Shining. That he never liked The Shining. I mean, come on, it's even a plot point in Ready Player One about The Shining. You know, so he was always vocal about that one. But I mean, maybe I'm a little more optimistic to say, well, anybody, if you as respect source material, like me, I think Spielberg could still do a superhero. I'm sure he can.
I'm sure he can.
Listen, he can. Listen, Ready Player One proved that he could do one, but you know why he can't do it right? Because he doesn't understand the mechanics.
I think he does,
which is unfortunate.
Because realistically speaking, did he not do a movie that realistically speaking?
Ralph, he didn't do a movie. Ralph, he did. That was a fan service guide to the 80s.
No, not that movie. Did he not? No, not that movie. Has he not done a movie that you could realistically say could have been a comic book, which is Raiders of the Lost Ark? That is a comic book.
No, but that was what's his face giving the movie and said, hey, look, you wanted to do a James Bond movie. I got this thing over here. Do this. It's the same concept, but just with an archaeologist. So So that's Ralph. That's a totally different ball game.
Yeah, I mean, it's an action movie, and he is like, I guess as a person, yeah. I mean, I'm saying that Raiders of the Lost, and I think they actually did make comics after the fact. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
They sure did. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, they did. They had the big,
Indiana Jones and stuff. But yeah, I mean, can Spielberg pull off a superhero movie? Yeah, but it had to be the right one. He couldn't just pull off anything.
I'll put it like this.
Could Spielberg pull off? I don't think Spielberg would pull off Secret Wars. I just think that wouldn't be his thing. I don't think that type
and
of
here's
thing
why.
Would be his thing.
Because they don't have any respect, which is the oddest thing to me. They don't have respect for the comic book genre.
Yeah, they don't even have respect for that genre. They don't feel that they're real movies.
Ralph, the words specifically came out of their mouth.
I know, but what I always think when they say that, I think they're looking as that the genre has taken over and the smaller pictures are being pushed out.
Okay, but whose fault is that?
Yeah,
the public's. That's the public's fault.
Right. Yeah, it's not the people who made it. So why shit on the comic films and say him and Marty that they're not real films? You know, like, they're not real films.
And I said Marty don't need to talk because I mean, let's be real, bro. The bulk of your movie is all about gangsterism. So you seem like you can't make another movie that's about gangster.
I mean, listen, you made Nicolas Cage look so bad in the last movie that he did with you. When he did Cocaine Bear, he looked the same. He looked like Nicolas Cage. I mean, he looked like what goddamn? Why is his name escaping me now? I just said his name, not Nicolas Cage. I said the wrong actor. The guy that was in Cocaine Bear, the head drug dealer in Cocaine Bear.
Oh, you talking about Ray Liotta?
Ray Liotta. You made Ray Liotta look so bad in his last gangster movie with you. When he did this one, he looked like that character did at the end of that movie, drugged out.
Wait. Wait. What last movie? Oh. Well, shit, he was supposed to look drugged out at the end of the movie because he was a drug addict. He was supposed to look that way.
That was a biopic for the most part.
He was supposed to look that way.
Yeah, Henry Hill.
But here's the thing. Ray Liotta was, after he looked like that at the end of that, he looked the same in everything he ever played in after that. And I don't know whether it was because he got fat. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Look at the TV show that he was on with Jennifer Lopez.
Okay, I'm going to sit there and look at him. Who in No Mercy?
It's really about how.
Look at him in Hannibal. Exactly.
Hello.
I mean, hell, he did that buyout movie where he played Frank Sinatra. So no, he didn't look the same in all the movies. That was the way he was supposed to look.
I mean, all I'm gonna say is if I look at any of these the old heads, the old guard, and I know all of them are very capable of doing a superhero movie. It just depends on which one it would be. You know,
now, wait a minute. Let's back up. Because Martin Scorsese, he put money behind a superhero movie. Which movie was that?
Yeah,
the Joker movie.
But he didn't do it though. The Joker movie. He was supposed to do it, and then maybe someone said, "No, Marty, maybe there's just ain't your lane to do Joker," because he was probably going to do that some sort of.
It would have been more violent if Marty would have did it. It would have been more violent. The violence would have came and see what Phillips did was he paced it very well. So I'm expecting this next movie to be very violent.
Another comic guy. Another comic guy.
Right. I would expect this next one to be pretty violent. I think he just wanted to pace it and give you a little bit of story because no one's ever really heard anything about. Yeah, no one's really told a story about a Joker origin.
And here's the funny thing: as we're talking about source material, there is no source material of the Joker's beginning.
Not really,
technically speaking.
Yeah.
Todd Phillips, what he did has become canon now.
Yeah, because there is no real origin story of the Joker. There never was. You know, he was just one of those guys that was content to be like, some people just want to see the world burn, and he's one of those people. And they didn't really care. They wanted to keep the mystique of not giving his origin, but. Like you said, what Todd Phillips did was really good.
The closest that we got to it was Rest in Peace.
Killing Joke.
Well, Killing
Joke was about the closest that you got to an origin story. But it did.
That was the closest.
But even that, especially even in the comics, in that the Killing Joke, it gave you a little bit, but it really didn't go into. It didn't give you as much as what Todd Phillips gave you, and I'm okay with that. Todd Phillips did a good job doing what he did. He actually made you kind of feel sorry for the Joker. You know, some people did.
You know what?
Not sorry, but empathy. Made him feel some empathy, especially.
I'll put it like this: that means I must be a trash human being because I sat there and applauded. And when he blew Robert De Niro's brains out, I was like, "Thank you."
Well, I mean, at that point, applauding doesn't mean you're a bad human being. Actually, applauding means Todd Phillips still did his job because he had you rooting for him, and he's a bad guy. He had you rooting for the bad guy, no matter what. But what he did was take it. What he successfully did. And I always got to take a shot at this guy every now and then. What he successfully did is what Rob Zombie tried to do with Michael Myers. He tried to
Come on, leave Rob Zombie alone.
Nah, man, he got to get it every time. I can, he successfully did what Rob Zombie wanted to do with Michael Myers. He wanted to add empathy to Michael Myers, and that just didn't work.
I don't think. No, I don't agree with that. I don't think he wanted to add empathy.
Of course he did.
I think
he's trying to explain why. He's trying to explain to you why. But here's the thing. I think that's just the way you took it, because I didn't take it that way. I think he was just explaining to me, okay, this is the other side of Michael Myers that we didn't get to see. Him being locked up. Him being poked and prodded at, and him already being the killing machine that he is. This is just another version of that. He tried to do everything, and he used Loomis to try to drive.
That was the only thing that I will say.
He used Loomis to try to drive that empathy. So that's why he would,
and having the ghost of his mother keep popping up in the movie and stuff.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
Ralph, stop. How else is his wife supposed to get work? He can't act.
But he could still put her in there.
She could have been a grip.
Bottom line is, I know, right? The bottom grip. So the bottom line is
that's why she ended up getting a whole movie on her own. He used her in that movie that she did, Salem.
He can go ahead and use her all he wants. And she could have still played Michael's mother. I didn't like the whole trash,
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. That's what Wes didn't like about it. He didn't like the fact that he made them look like trailer trash.
Trash, but the same, like I said, he Rob Zombied us. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? Just make the movie, bro. To me, here's what you had to do. You had to escape from the. I guess that's why it didn't bother me as much, because I was able. And you know how much I love Halloween. I watch Halloween, the full series, at least 2 or 3 times a year. Before Halloween even comes up, I've already watched Halloween twice. So, including the 2 Rob Zombie films. Mm-hmm. I'm able to separate the two and just look at it as, I almost look at it as an alternate universe of Halloween. Yeah, that alternate universe need to have an incursion and explode. It exploded into a billion pieces. But you're not the only one who looks at it like that. Like they kind of take the timelines and split them, where it's like you have the Jamie Curtis timeline, which starts with the first Halloween and kind of really jumps, even though she's in the second one too, from the second one, and then it jumps all the way to H2O after that. Halloween 1 and 2 jumps to H2O and then whatever. They kind of like see that like that as one timeline. And really, to be honest with you, the second one, it was part of the timeline. I liked the second one. That's number one. I did love it.
The second one to me was better than the first one.
Yeah, I liked the second one. But whatever case. Yes, the Rob Zombie one is branched off into another timeline or reality. And then
remember, it goes on after
the Seasons of the Witch one is part of a different timeline as well.
Right.
The way they broke it down.
The Rob Zombie one, because isn't Homegirl? That's Homegirl from.
Well, that was just him paying homage. He using
Danielle Harris,
find Danielle Harris, find behind, and in there.
But you like that part though.
Yeah, I like her. Yeah,
she got killed. I wasn't liking that part that she got killed.
Like she played Annie, so she had to die. She played that. Well, you're right. Like I said, you knew 2 things was gonna happen. At least I knew. When I heard Rob Zombie was doing a version, this is what I was praying against. The 2 things I knew was gonna happen was I was praying didn't happen. Him, Rob Zombie, and us. That we was gonna see some trailer trash shit, and we was gonna see some crazy over the top, brutally killing.
Yeah.
That's
that's
not
the purpose of a
Michael
horror
Myers,
film.
though. But that's not Michael Myers.
It is Michael
No, it's
Myers.
not. To a degree, Michael Myers killed you.
Okay,
But he ain't gonna be ripping you apart and shit like that. Like, he didn't do that.
But here's the thing. You got to remember, after a certain while, this guy's gonna
Then
grow.
we got
He's gonna
fucking
get bigger. He's
Kane
gonna
as
get
Michael
stronger.
Myers, basically.
If you ever, anybody who's ever worked on the psych ward, know that I don't know where these people get this strength from, but
Yeah, but you didn't have that question with Rob Zombie's Michael Myers. You know where he got this. He was a big motherfucker. You know, there was no question of where he got his strength from. That guy was a monster. You know what I'm saying? So,
exactly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's not Michael Myers. The whole point is Michael Myers, for the most part, was the size of a regular man. He just had this unexplainable.
That's true.
When he first started killing people, he was a teenager.
No, he was in the.
He was a kid.
He was 21. He was a kid when he killed the person, but then when Haddonfield happened, he was 21 years old. He was a man. You know what I mean? But he was still the size of a regular.
He was just tall.
Man. He was just a little bit tall.
Yeah,
but it wasn't
he wasn't Hulk Hogan.
But he had
Hogan.
He wasn't Kane and the Undertaker. You know what I'm saying? Niggas had the Undertaker running around killing people. Of course he's gonna be killing people. Of course he's gonna be ripping people apart. This dude was a monster. I was like, yo, it's like the Big Show. Hey,
I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to get trashed for this one. Jesus Christ! But I'm going to say it.
Just hold on.
As much as I love all of the Halloween films, there are only 3 of them that actually scared me. But the Rob Zombie films, it spooked me out. Watching the Rob Zombie films made me feel like when I first started watching The Walking Dead. I was like, "What is this?" Why?
Even the way the mask was in the Rob Zombie films, to me, wasn't even as scary because it was kind of messed up and dirty and ripped up a little bit. It wasn't like, it was, even that was different to me. I felt more like he was more like a Leatherface than a Michael Myers. You know what I mean? Just put a damn chainsaw in his hand. He was more like a Leatherface to me. Or like I said, I never reminded me of Kane.
You know what? Now that you said that, I will kind of sort of agree with you because he was on the size. He was kind of sort of on the same size as Leatherface, maybe a little bit.
He was bigger than Leatherface. He was even bigger than Leatherface. That dude was just, I tell you, he was the same size as like Kane and the Undertaker. And that guy was like 7 something. He was like 7 foot. Yeah,
he's
I don't know. I thought it was.
Tyler Mane is a big dude.
Tyler Mane, he's a big dude. Tyler Mane. That was Tyler Mane. Isn't that Sabretooth?
Yeah,
the same guy, Sabretooth.
Same guy
from the original X-Men movies. That nigga big as hell. So it's like,
only thing I'll say is that scene when he killed that girl in the bathroom was beautiful.
I mean, like I said, it was beautiful in a Rob Zombie type of way. Yeah,
Jesus Christ, he just can't.
It was beautiful in a Rob Zombie-ish type of way, but
he Rob Zombie does something
like as he Rob Zombie-ish, bro. I mean, the most, or at least in my opinion, the most scariest Halloween was the first one, and a lot of people will agree with that. Some people may not. But that was the scariest. It was the spookiest. Why was it scary? Because it had anticipation. It had, anxiety. Yeah. And the funny thing is, it didn't even have blood. Stuff. No blood in it. Nope. But it was still one of the scariest.
The second one and 4.
The second one was very scary too. The second one hit home for me because that was back when I used to be in the hospital a lot with asthma. And the fact that he was walking around a hospital, because I know how they depicted that hospital is true. The hospitals at night is empty.
Now it's different. Now it's different.
Nigga walking around, and I'm sitting there like, yo, and it was crazy. Now, I remember, now it's different, but back then,
I don't know, man. my girl, she works in the hospital out in Las Vegas, and she be telling me, and I get what Kevin's saying, like these people with mental problems, these people out there at her hospital in Vegas, like she has been attacked by people for some strange reason. People want to escape the hospital by going through the ceiling, which I still don't understand that one.
Because all ceilings, the walls don't. In some construction, the ceilings don't go all the way up. And depending on how the ductwork runs through the ceiling, it all depends on the construction. But that's why they try to go through the ceiling, because they think that they can get through. 9 times out of 10, depending on how the building is built, that wall goes all the way up to the next level, so you're not getting through.
Yeah, I don't know, but she always tell me that someone's down in the ER and they trying to escape through the ceiling. I'm like, what's in the ceiling? What, McLean in there?
They think out. They watch too much damn TV.
Watch too much TV, man. And so the second one scared me because of that, and also scared it actually. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So, but anyway, let me leave. I'm done with Rob Zombie. We'll catch him next time. I'll come back on another reason to throw shots at him.
He's been very quiet lately. Especially after the whole monster thing. The monster.
Oh, that was just a disaster.
Man, he got ripped.
Train wreck.
He got ripped.
The monsters. He gonna do the monsters. That's
a
his
wife
wreck.
in there.
Of course he did. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. Where she can't act or not, I ain't knocking him. I ain't knocking him for that. If his wife wants to be an actor, he's a freaking director. Why not fulfill her dreams and let her be an actor? He decides to put her wherever he wants to put her, and she may not be that good of an actor, but I can't knock him for that. But
I can't knock the monsters because I haven't watched it, so I don't know.
I did like her in The Devil's Rejects. I thought she was pretty decent in Devil's Rejects, but she was playing the crazy.
The Devil's
She's playing a crazy
Rejects and that the Devil's Reject. The second one was trash. The second the one that over the top one that he did was a little bit over the top.
So Rob, you think Rob Zombie could do a Marvel comic film? You think he could do? He could do. Maybe he could do one. Maybe he could do Ghost Rider or something like that. Or
he could do Punisher. Yeah, he could do Ghost Rider or Punisher.
Something like that. He might be able to do something like that because that's his lane. But you think Rob Zombie, just because he's a filmmaker, can step in and do the next big Avengers movie?
First of all, not to discount Rob Zombie that he has the movie. Rob Zombie is not a filmmaker. He's a musician. So
he is a filmmaker. He's a filmmaker.
No, he is a filmmaker.
He's made
that movie
a whole bunch of films.
Listen, Ralph, I'm telling you, watch that film Salem. That film Salem was really good. And the sad part is, when I saw that film, and that film was spooky. Like, his wife pulled that off. I gotta say, I can understand why he let her practice her acting chops. But I think leading up to do that movie Salem, because that movie was pretty good.
All right, but
Rob Zombie has 23 films under his belt. He is a filmmaker.
Okay,
he is a bona fide filmmaker.
Yeah. So what now? Can he do the job? Of course, he's a filmmaker. Would he be the right fit for a job? Probably in the comic movie, probably not.
No,
I only asked you that question. I asked you that question, Ralph, because you said a filmmaker's a filmmaker.
I'll tell you this: the only comic book movie I could probably see him making is maybe Heavy Metal. If he was to make Heavy Metal, because it kind of fits into the genre that
live
he's
action.
in.
No, I could see him redirecting a cartoon version of that, but to do Heavy Metal at live action. You know what? I take that back, because we're in the age of dragons, and we got House of Dragons and all of that stuff, and what's it called? So I guess it can be pulled off.
But if he kind of sort of did it in the style of Sin City, like that type of filmmaking, I could say okay, all right. But I would put Peter Jackson on that, or Robert Rodriguez. But more so Peter Jackson. Well, Robert Rodriguez already. I mean, he already did it. He did.
Well, yeah, he already did Sin City. So,
but my whole point of bringing it up is there a comic book film that exists or a comic book source that exists that Rob Zombie could do, I could say
Punisher. If you give him the source material, because here's what Rob Zombie's going to do. He's going to read the source material, and then he's going to Rob Zombie it. But but here's the thing. I think if you have somebody to say, hey, look, we want you to do this, but don't Rob Zombie us. And if you give him a point of reference, like Homegirl who did Punisher Warzone, to me, that was the best Punisher the Punisher movie, best Punisher movie, and the most violent out of all the Punisher movies, and it was done by a female director.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I don't know why Marvel won't bring her back to come do Marvel films, or I hope they bring her back to come do another Punisher film.
If he's gonna Rob Zombie us, then let him do Ghost Rider.
Yeah, because Ghost Rider would be perfect for him to do because it's the carnies.
Mm-hmm.
It's the carnival circuit, which is kind of sort of, I hate to say trailer trash for there. The carnies are considered trailer trash, black or white. Wow.
Yeah.
Because remember, Oliver was a carny, and you saw how they used to live. Shout out to my boy Oliver Berger. That's my homie. I learned a lot from him. But that's why he would be perfect for that, because of the carny circuit and the evil Knievel of it all. Like that's his lane. Like, because that's basically what Johnny Blaze was. Johnny Blaze was the evil Knievel of Marvel Comics.
Yeah. Since we talking about films, I just saw something. I went on Rob Zombie's page, and I had to quickly get off of it because they showed some pictures of Michael Myers. I was like, let me get off this page. But before that, there's AMC is doing something called the History of Horror.
Yes,
Eli Roth.
Yep.
History of Horror. And obviously not going to do it until around probably October or whatever, but that looks very interesting.
That's been going on. That's been going on for like the last, 3 or 4 years. It's gonna be like season 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think I've seen an episode of that before.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good, and they have, because Rob Zombie has been on that. He's one of the hosts on there, and they talk about, like, and that's the thing I respect about Rob Zombie, because he's not just he might have Rob Zombie us with the Halloween, but he's an advocate. He understands horror, and he knows.
Yeah, he loves horror. He understands. He not only understands it, he respects it. He does respect horror. I just thought that it was one of those situations for me, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna get off for him. I'm not gonna keep going, but yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. He got a chance.
Any press is good press.
Yeah, he got a chance to do.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
He got a chance to do. He loves that genre. He loves that series. He got a chance to do something he loved, and he spit the bit. But that's okay. That's fine. He wet the bed, in my opinion. But it's still. He put his own version.
People are saying, Robert.
I mean, but did he wet? Did he wet the bed by himself, or did he wet the bed with a girl? And she wet the bed. I'm saying. I mean, listen, it's up for debate. I don't know.
He laying in the wet spot though. Whoever wet the bed, he laying in the wet spot. Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, that'll be that. We'll I think what we should do is try to get up offline and get this list together so we can truly move forward with it. I think I got a couple of people coming on next couple of weeks. We're gonna bring Tony Perez back, but we're also gonna get Marilyn Toro. Yeah, we're gonna get her on because she's in.
Shut up, Ralph. Don't you say Don't say nothing, Ralph.
She's the new. She's on the new series Gotham Knights.
Well.
Yeah, she's.
So that's why I ain't been able to reach her. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been putting her to work. Yeah. So.
Yeah. She did a new series Gotham Knights. And of course she was in Playing Dirty, stuff like that. So she wasn't able to come on that day. So she's gonna come back. So we're trying to get her maybe next week. And Gotham Knights has also held up production because of the writer's strike. But you know, she's a friend of the family, friend of the show. So make sure to let her come back. And we'll get back with y'all next week. Thanks for shout out to Joseph, people in the chat room, hold it down. People that's gonna watch it as the show goes on when we put it out there. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share this with your friends. It don't take anything but one click to share this with your friends. Share it. Don't you have to share it with your friends. Share it with your enemies. I don't care. Just share it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below if you like to. Let us know what you think about stuff we're talking about today, and we'll go forward. We'll catch up with y'all next week.
The algorithm loves it.
Algorithm, exactly.